What's up, everybody? Welcome to PSI Love You XOXO episode 27. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the prod. You threw me off with this thing. That was your problem. Were you looking for this? Because I moved the coaster earlier because you just had your chamois on it.
I needed a coaster for my chamois.
I'm sorry. Now
it's a microfiber cloth.
I think we discovered already. It's called the chamois.
It's a microfiber cloth.
Pride of Long Island, Colin Moriarty.
Good to be here with you today.
It's good to be here with you. Colin, let's address the elephant in the room. Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, this show, P.S. I Love You, XOXO, is recorded on Monday afternoons, posted Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific time, MP3s, videos on YouTube. You understand all that. And I'll get to that rigmarole in a while. This is going up before the PlayStation VR event at GDC. We will be attending the PlayStation VR event at GDC. However, this show wouldn't have any of those thoughts, figures, news, because we don't know it.
Right.
It hasn't happened yet. No, if you're looking to get the scoop on what we thought of the PlayStation VR announcement at GDC Tuesday afternoon, what you need to do is either go to twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock, where we'll be streaming from GDC, or Wednesday or Thursday when we're streaming from GDC 10 to 5 each and every day. And of course, the Gamescast will cover off on that. I'm sure that'll be a topic.
I'm excited.
What do you think? What do you think we're going to get out of this event?
A date and a price.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
How close is the date? You think is the fall or is it going to be summer?
May.
You say May.
I said that in like an episode or two ago, so I'm going to stick with it.
I'm holding out for my prediction of No Man's Sky being tied in with it.
I mean,
it won't be, but I hold out hope that that's it. And then June,
price,
bam, pow.
Pie in the sky, like $2.99,
but realistically,
probably $3.99. Realistically, $4.99.
I'm saying $3.99. I'm saying $3.99 for the price point on this bad boy.
We'll see.
We will. That's all going to be
very exciting.
It is very exciting.
I can't wait. I want one.
Well, we'll see if you want one.
I play The Division in VR.
That's not how it works. That's 100% not how it works.
I can play any game I want in PlayStation VR.
Not how
as far as I
PlayStation
understand.
VR works. No, they've been very clear about that.
As far as I understand, I can play any game I want.
I'll have to check on. VR. Is that true? No, being told that's not true.
Hey, Colin.
Jackie T.
Yeah. That's not true about PlayStation VR. We designed it from the top up. Or no, top down.
You went top up, Jack. Wow.
Jack, you designed it from the top up. How much further can you get from the top? Let me tell you, Colin.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Jackie T.
This is PS I Love You XOXO. It is kindoffunny.com's PlayStation podcast. So make sure you go to kindoffunny.com, subscribe to all the YouTube channels, love us and support us there, share us with your friends, do all that jazz. Of course, it posts as a video, or it posts as an MP3. It's all over the podcast services around the globe. Go to iTunes, get us there, rate us.
We are number one.
We are number one PlayStation podcast. Thank you very much for that. We love your support. You mean the world to us. I'm excited to talk. I usually we do like, what are you playing? I have a topic of the week plays into what we're playing. So let's not even get around it. Let's get right to the business.
Sure.
With what is and forever will be Roper's Report. Time for some singular possessive news.
Let me turn my mouse on. There are 15 items on the list.
Baker's dozen.
I must say that this is a pretty robust list.
We're all over the map, you say, on this one?
I say it's a good list of news.
Of juicy.
If we were going to play the
tidbits.
old classic, I guarantee it or I doubt it.
These would all be I guarantee.
These would be. I assume that you would not doubt any of them.
And remember,
you could legit tell me if you doubt any of them. Let's not play I guarantee it or I doubt, but you can.
But for new listeners, I just want to explain. I guarantee, of course, I guarantee it. The Men's Warehouse guy who no longer is with the Men's Warehouse. He's alive, don't worry, but no longer with Men's Warehouse. He'd always say, I guarantee it. Because Colin used to put too many stories in the Roper Report back then, not Roper's Report now. You've been good with Roper's Report. It's been definitely an evolution of what Roper's Report was.
I've been putting all of the nonsense into one.
It's been helpful. And so I'd say I doubt it, like Discount Furniture Bob, if I thought it didn't belong on there. Mm-hmm. So let's go. You say that none of these are going to be doubted.
I don't think any of them are doubted.
Okay.
Number one. PlayStation 4 was once again the best-selling gaming console of the month in the United States, this time for the month of February 2016. The console was also responsible for the most software sold at retail. Additionally, according to the monthly NPD report that charts games performance in the US, these were the top 10 best-selling games of the month for February in order. Far Cry Primal, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, Grand Theft Auto 5, Naruto Shippuden, Ultimate Ninja Storm 4, NBA 2K16, Lego Marvel Avengers, Street Fighter 5, Minecraft, Fire Emblem Fates Birthright, and Fallout 4. Far Cry Primal, Naruto, NBA 2K16, Lego Marvel Avengers, Street Fighter 5, and Fallout 4 all sold best on PS4. Street Fighter 5 is a console exclusive, so that's not a big deal. That's it.
Okay.
For that.
I know we do a lot of shows together. Did we not talk about this last time?
No, we talked about this on Colin and Greg Live.
Okay. Too many shows together.
Mm-hmm. Saw your look. You were looking at me in a weird sort of way.
Because I was trying to remember. I was trying to dial it back because I thought we've talked about this.
It was on Colin and Greg.
I believe you. Because we talked about Far Cry Primal being there.
Yeah,
which
on Colin and Greg.
Was surprising, but then not surprising the more you think of it.
I'm going to look just to check.
No, I believe you. No, I'm not.
Now you got
I'm
me,
not doubting you. Hashtag Colin was right, brother.
Now you got me a little nervous, brother.
Brother? Hey, brother, man.
Now you got me a little...
Let me tell you
Shit in the curb, sister.
Hulk Hogan. Why do you have to turn out to be a racist?
Let's see. No.
Cool. Just
wasn't on last week's. Oh, no. That was PSN Digital Games. So, all right. So, as far as the list is concerned, I want to point out Fire Emblem Fates, pretty big. That's on there. If those 3 games were combined as one, it would have been the 3rd best-selling game.
We'd fuck that up, Nintendo.
Street Fighter V did pretty well. It's only available retail with PS4. It's obviously on PC as well, and I'm sure it's selling pretty well digitally. Fallout 4 falling off the list almost, number 10. NBA 2K16 was the one that stood out to me the most. That's at number 5.
Okay.
Because everyone talks about the EA games, Madden and FIFA. FIFA sells very well, obviously, around the world. But everyone's like, oh, these cash cows, Madden and FIFA. I'm like, NBA is really the only one that's on the list all year. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, in the US anyway. And I'm not talking about globally. FIFA obviously would outsell it globally. But that game must sell better than Madden. Like, by a mile.
Interesting.
Don't you think? Madden seems like it sells for 2 months.
Yeah.
NBA sells... I feel like NBA's on the chart literally all year. Like even up into the summer months, maybe not in the summer, but up to those months. I mean, it's March this season. The playoffs are going to start in a month or two. The game's still number 5.
Interesting.
I just feel like that game doesn't get its due. We had them on when we did the GameStop Expo in September. We had those guys on. Those guys know their shit.
No. When you think about sports games, you think about EA. You talk about EA. You don't talk about NBA, and you don't talk about the show.
And those two games are both better.
Yeah, 2 studios that break their backs trying to make these games as amazing as they can.
And then Far Cry Primal at number 1 was a surprise to me.
I still hang in there that it's just the first game of consequence. The first like retail game of consequence in particular.
Sure.
Because like Firewatch, everybody was excited about and had an opinion about, but digital, so it didn't count.
Number 2,
everybody.
Fallout 4's first piece of DLC, Automatron, has been dated. The DLC will launch on March 22nd and will cost $10 when purchased as a standalone product. Obviously, you can also purchase the season pass.
Is it too late to buy the season pass at a discount?
I think so.
Okay, good thing I got mine.
According to its trailer, it's far more story mission based than we might have originally imagined. So
Which
this
looks
is
awesome.
something we're talking about on Colin and Greg Live.
But this one's exciting.
Yeah.
Because this is I at first when they were talking about these expansion packs, I didn't care anything about until what was it?
Far Harbor.
That was the one where I was like, well, for sure, that one sounds awesome. But these ones, I don't know. Is it just gear? Is it just a companion? Da, da, da. And then you watch the trailer today and you had this old robot man who wanted to start some shit. And I was like, oh, he looks cool. I'd like to fight him.
Remember in Fallout 3's The Pit when you had to find all those gold ingots for the trophy?
Right.
Oh, it was such a pain in the ass.
No good there.
That's just a brief and
okay, that was just a one
irrelevant aside.
Okay, just making sure.
But what I've decided, because I do want to get back to Fallout 4. I have to get back to Fallout 4. I think I'm going to wait until Far Harbor comes out. The other 2 pieces of DLC will come out before it, and then I can do all of this at once. That way,
gotcha.
You know. Like,
what's the likelihood you actually do that, though? Not because you're a man of no morals. Not because you're not a man of your word. Just because right now you're thinking, oh, big open swatch there. A lot of time, a lot of free.
When I look ahead,
yeah,
I see games that are going to take a lot of time. Like for instance, Salt and Sanctuary. We have had that game forever.
We have, yes,
and I've just not played it. It comes out tomorrow.
Me too.
You know, but like I see Alienation. That game's going to occupy a ton of my time.
Of course.
But like it seems like there's going to be time to get through Fallout 4. In my heart, it's like got to be 100%. I can't imagine not going back.
Mm-hmm.
And just leaving Fallout 4 just...
But I'm just saying, is this like one of your BioShock Infinite things?
This is like 50 other games that I've talked about in the past.
Yeah.
You are absolutely correct.
Okay.
The Evil Within.
Yeah, yeah. You really liked Evil
Skyrim.
Within too. Yeah.
I did like The Evil Within,
yeah.
Number 3.
I'm going to play it. Here's my big thing, and I'm going to play it as they come out. So I'll have impressions for you right away.
That's great.
Except for the fact that there's a million things going on that week, I think.
Sure.
But I got to go through now. This is something I didn't think about. I got to go through and sit down and figure out what one is my save. Because I have all these different saves from doing the platinum, but I want to make sure I'm with the group I actually chose canonically.
Sure. Number 3. It appears Final Fantasy XV's release date may have leaked. Gamatsu Sal Romano wrote a story indicating that the global release date is Friday, September 30th, and that this information comes from multiple reliable sources that would be familiar with Square Enix's plans. The release date, along with other information, is set to be revealed at the Uncovered Final Fantasy XV event in Los Angeles on March 30th, hosted by our very own Greg and Tim.
Hi. It's me.
So you may or may not know the answer, but that's the
Maybe I do, maybe I don't.
the rumored release date globally. So Japan, Europe, Australia, US, everywhere. Friday, September 30th.
And you can find out March 30th live on twitch.tv/.
And what a weird coincidence it would be if it was 6 months to the day from that.
Yeah, I guess.
I just thought of that actually. I was writing the news today. Because I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
You might or might not.
Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Jiggy wrote in to kindafunny.com/PSQ just like you can to be part of the show. And Jiggy, aka Jordan B, says, "Hey, Colin and Greg. I'm super pumped to see that Greg will be hosting the Final Fantasy XV event with Tim."
Are you really super pumped?
According to Jiggy.
Okay.
Jiggy says he's super pumped.
Okay.
Final Fantasy fans are hardcore, you know. I don't know if you know that.
I know. I was one. Not anymore.
Jiggy continues. I know you've, Greg, never been a huge fan of the series, but are you going to prepare for the event by playing any of the past games? I personally always loved the series and its incredible art direction. What are both you and Colin of your favorite JRPG franchises? I figure Greg's will probably be Persona, but I'm really curious about Colin's favorite. Thanks, guys. Hope you have a great time with the event, Greg. P.S. I love you, Jordan B. So in reverse order, and then I'll turn it over to Colin. Yes, Persona is probably my favorite JRPG series. I love Persona. It's the one of the few. Yeah, probably the only.
You like them high school kids.
Probably the only that's put his hooks in me. I love a good high school kid.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just tender, soft.
Right.
Doesn't know right from wrong.
Right. Stupid.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. So Persona for sure. And then, am I going to play any games leading up to the... No, I'm not going to play any games. Remember, the whole thing with the Final Fantasy event is that they are saying that Final Fantasy 15 appeals to both the hardcore fan, Tim Geddes, and somebody who just is me, who likes video games and respects Final Fantasies, but has never clicked for me before. So that's why we both got cast in this thing here. I'm not faking it. I'm not going in there acting like I've played all this stuff.
And then there's people like me, they're like, "Hey, we got a Magitech armor in the game, man. You like Final Fantasy 6, don't you, kid?" It's Joe Farrow.
I was going to say, Joe Farrow's working on a Final Fantasy?
We'll talk about Joe Farrow in a minute.
We will.
Pound for pound, I think Wild Arms is the best Japanese role-playing game I've ever played, but that's not my favorite series. Because Wild Arms and Wild Arms 2 are great games. Fantastic games. 3, I didn't like, and I never played anything I wanted after that. Tales is definitely one of my favorites. I started with Tales of Destiny, but that was the second game. Tales of Fantasia was the first one. It was a Super Famicom game. It didn't come out until later when it was released on GBA.
Did you eventually get on GBA and think it was tied into that Mickey movie Fantasia?
Yep. That's what I thought. It's Fantasia with a P.
And you were like, well, it's just a weird misspelling, Japanese.
Yeah. Well, the Japanese are very mysterious people. So Tales, I would give it a shout out to. I would give a shout out to Final Fantasy up through 9. Very strong. Exception of maybe... I actually think the PS1 ones are the weakest, but 9 was a really strong game. I think 7, in hindsight, was I maybe hated on it a little too much. 8, maybe the weakest. And then Dragon Quest.
Oh, okay. You love them.
I love Dragon Quest.
You love them.
Dragon Quest is very traditional.
Yeah.
And that's not for everyone, but I like it very much.
Okay.
So yeah, Wild Arms, Tales, Final Fantasy, or old Final Fantasy, and Dragon Quest.
Excuse me.
Are you going to go get the package?
Yeah.
Secure the package?
Secure the package.
I'm waiting for a delivery myself. And I wonder if it is indeed my parcel. So Greg has walked out of the door and he's walking down the stairs. I'm just using my imagination now because I don't know for sure. And he's probably opening the door and the UPS guy's having a little playful banter back and forth. Oh, that's a funny joke. And, blah, blah. And then Greg walks back up the stairs with the package secure in his arms. And then he walks back through the door. I'm a little ahead of the story now because he hasn't walked back through the door. Is Greg dead? Greg might be dead. This is taking longer than usual. I don't hear him walking upstairs yet. He stomps around like a Clydesdale when he walks up the stairs. You can hear him anywhere in the house. He's still downstairs. What is happening? This is a very mysterious... What could possibly be going on? Greg, are you there? Greg, where are you? Did the UPS man kidnap you, Greg? Did the FedEx man kidnap you? Are you dead? Are you dead? Oh, okay, he's back. Okay. That was a really long one.
Something's wrong with our water. I'm working on it.
Really?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
What happened? Something's wrong with our water. Now he ran into his bedroom. He had like a thing in it. It looked like almost like a mailer, like a political mailer. What happened with our water?
It's all lead.
It's all lead? Who was it?
I gotta cut him a check.
Are you serious?
Yeah, hold on.
I guess we didn't pay our water bill? That doesn't sound right. It wasn't the FedEx man at all. It wasn't the UPS man at all. It was the water man. And I have to be honest with you. If you asked me to guess 100 different people that might be at the door at any given time, I would have never guessed the water man. No. I would have never guessed the water man at all. But there he is. Demanding money. Because Greg doesn't pay the fucking water bill. Even though he's supposed to pay it. So isn't that mysterious? As he's downstairs cutting a check to the waterman. Now, could this all be a ruse? This is, of course, very possible as well. Someone nonchalantly walking down the street, acting as if he is the waterman. If someone came up to my door and was like, I'm the waterman, I'd be like, I don't know what the fuck that means. I don't know what it means to be the waterman. And then he comes demanding money? Like, this seems a little strange, doesn't it? The waterman knocking on the door, ringing the bell, technically, buzzing the door, demanding money in the form of a personal check. Oh, something about that doesn't sit right with me at all. So Greg apparently is downstairs now, cutting a check. And we simply have to wait for him to return. Pregnant pause. Did you like that? Bet you did. Something's wrong with our water. And then Greg said it's all lead, which would have been, well, that would have been disastrous. You can't take that back. We drink a lot of this water here in this house. And you certainly can't take that back. I'm listening carefully for noises that he might be coming back. Now he's talking to someone in the hallway. Now he's having a conversation. Now someone's buzzing our door again, but Greg's down there. This is bizarre. You're getting an interesting insight into our existence. Our very existence. Someone buzzed the door. Who could possibly be buzzing the door right now? Now he's walking back upstairs. He's coming inside.
What a day! I'll tell you what. Package is here. The water's okay.
All right, so I gave a play-by-play and some conjecture here. You'll listen to it when you edit the video.
Yeah, I'm sure I will. Did you talk the whole time or did you actually edit it?
No, you can talk. I talked the whole time.
Perfect. I'll let it roll.
Now,
so that was the water department in the beginning. And the water department came by to tell us basically that like the automatic bill pay has been broken. So we need to pay them. So I cut them their check for the water.
Now this is coming out of the bank of Greg. How much do we owe them?
that's the thing is it's not.
They came. See, this is what I was saying was that if someone just came to the door and was like, I'm the water man, I need a personal check. Yeah. I'd be like, I don't know about this. This doesn't sound like something that would happen.
I had seen an email about them, but it was like, hey, your water bill's due. I didn't think it was, hey, your water bill's in trouble. We need you to look at this stupid.
Okay, so then someone buzzed again.
Then I shut the door, started up the stairs. Our landlord in the hallway. What's going on? I'm like, oh, nothing. This is happening. We had a good laugh, and then the doorbell rang again.
Oh, you laughed? He had a good laugh?
Oh, yeah, he's in a good mood. He's in a good mood. I love when he's in a good mood.
Me too.
Then doorbell again, and then it was the package we expected, or at least the one I expected, which is the hard drive for GDC.
Now, the hard drive's looks like you bought it maybe at Shaw's, which is a supermarket.
I don't know what Shaw's is. Okay.
Are you out of breath?
I am,
because you didn't really do
a lot of action. I started up the stairs, Colin, then I had to talk to our landlord, then I had to bounce back down the stairs, then I had to get here, then I had to go get a checkbook. I'm drinking water infested with lead, apparently.
Maybe you should pay the water bill next time. And none of that would have happened.
I just don't know how I, like the least responsible person in the house, got in charge of all the bills.
That's a really good
That was
point.
a really dumb move.
That's a good point.
You
But
love
I-
that kind of shit.
Oh, I don't though. See, I
You're
don't.
the one who loves looking
I
at
pay my
fucking
credit
spreadsheets.
card off sometimes twice in the same day. You know what I mean? I have that platinum card at Bank of America, 0% APR. Pay that shit off. Get your points on the back end. 2% off on gas, 3% off groceries, 1% off on everything. Then you double it.
How much, man, are you rolling in those gas bills
Ooh,
there?
not
you're
really.
just-
No, not really.
You're just
No.
buying it sometimes
Just
to get the
buying
percent.
gas. I need that 2% back.
Just pouring it
Gonna
on the
pay 90,
street.
yeah.
If only I had a car.
All right, where were we? Number 4. Sony has introduced its launch party, a 6-week event on the PlayStation Store that will celebrate the release of 6 eagerly anticipated digital games. It all starts this week with Salt and Sanctuary on PS4,
Which we have and haven't played because of Division.
I'm excited because it looks awesome. Followed over the next 5 weeks by In Order, Day of the Tentacle Remastered on PS4 and Vita, Enter the Gungeon on PS4, Stories: The Path of Destinies on PS4, Invisible Ink on PS4, and finally, the cream of the crop, Alien Nation on PS4. All of the games can be garnered at a discount if you pre-order them before their respective releases.
I know you're stoked for Alienation.
Oh, can't wait.
I am too,
Can't
because
wait.
they're pedigree, but I'm super excited for Enter the Gungeon. I
Yep.
hope it pans out. When I played it at an event, had a great time with it, really looking forward to it. Wish it was on Vita, but I understand.
I think Enter the Gungeon is coming to Vita,
Is it?
but not right away. I'm going to check on that.
Because when we talked to him there, it was like one of those things. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Nobody knows what's happening.
Let's see. Hold on a second.
I'll sing Invisible Touch while you do that. And now I know, I'm on my she seems to have that invisible touch.
Okay, so they say in the comments March 2nd on the Enter the Gungeon April 5th release thing, because of these technical reasons, Gungeon would need to be basically recoded to run well on the Vita. I wouldn't totally rule out a Vita version.
Okay, but we're right where I was before.
But I feel like there was another game on here that I thought, ooh, what could it be? Day of the Tentacle is coming. Oh, Salt and Sanctuary, I think, is coming to Vita.
Oh, nice.
Let me verify that. That might be the one.
Then I'm just going to wait. Keep on waiting, Salt and Sanctuary. Who can it be?
Yeah, it is coming to Vita.
All right, great.
It's just not ready yet.
I understand.
Maybe we can wait a month or a year or 2 years or 5 years for that. Who knows?
Till the SS Vita finally sinks.
It will never sink. Number 5. The Division is officially Ubisoft's most successful day one launch in a 3-decade history of the publisher. In 24 hours, the game sold more copies than any other Ubisoft release in their respective first 24 hours on the market. So congratulations to Ubisoft. And we'll talk more about the Division in the topic of, what do we call it now? The show?
Tots. We could do it right here if you want. We haven't had a good
Yeah,
topic.
let's have a
We
good
haven't had a
topic.
good topic of the show. Interrupt something else in a while. Tots. Top of the show. Tots. So topic of the show is the Division. Now, you and I have both been playing the Division.
Mm-hmm.
You and I keep evolving and marinating on the Division. And that was one of the things we talked about a little bit today on Colin Greg Live, is the fact that today our Gamescast topic went up about the Division, but that's tip of the sword kind of stuff. We're just scratching the surface.
For God's sakes, hold on a second. Give me your glasses, because how do you not see this? Come on.
Sorry.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
Sorry.
The waterman must have put it on there.
Drive me nuts. It's a nano machine.
And you want to eventually do a bigger review discussion.
I think we should do a review
But I
discussion.
still think we should have this tentpole discussion here, this stopgap here of what we think now. How many hours in are you right now?
15.
15 hours in. Okay. Okay. I have 2 characters, one level 19, which I want to say the hour count on it was like 22 or 23 hours, and then one level 10 or 11, which would be all weekends work. So, 8-9 hours of work there too. I'm in love with this game. I love this game. Got flaws for sure.
You're in love with it.
In love with it. All I want to do is play this game.
It's definitely got it's definitely got a hook.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
It's RPG.
Yeah, it's that. But it's, so in our review discussion on Gamescast, which people can watch on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames or download the podcast, I liked it, but I was a little lukewarm on it as well in some things. I still think there's problems with the game. But the more I play it, the more I'm like, yeah, this is good. And we're playing it very differently, you and I. I'm playing it totally by myself. So we do have two totally different perspectives on the game. I think it's hard, which is good. It's probably harder than it's supposed to be for me. And I am trying to play higher level things intentionally, make it even harder. Not like skull and crossbow and I can't kill anything hard.
Sure,
but like
two
if I'm
levels
like
ahead
level
or no.
10 and they're level 11 or level 12, there's nothing really wrong with that. So I'm level 12 now. I just did the Joe Ferro stuff at the Concrete Factory or the Napalm Factory. And that's what we were talking about.
Mr. New York.
Yeah, Joe Ferro is like over the top character. They're lying to us.
I don't care if they say they're with the government. You take them out. They stayed behind because they're real New Yorkers. Swing the crane, Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was like, when I kept dying on that mission. I'm like, it's so good I'm dying because I get to listen to this guy over and over again. I was like cracking up. Like, listen, this is terrible. But the game's got a nice hook to it. I like the equipment, like equipping things, making yourself more powerful. There's an armor stat for your armor, but there's also the ways it affects the way you use your guns and
your damage,
and your skills,
your health,
and,
your skill. Yeah.
So there's like deep role playing systems in the game. I also like New York City. I think it's not a pound for pound recreation of New York City, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I'm in Hell's Kitchen or Chelsea. Went to Madison Square Garden.
Does this stuff look right to you?
Yeah, it does. Okay. And then
for me, there's like the public library I've seen. I'm like, oh, all right. And then I don't know if you caught this. I was on Reddit and they had it up this screen by screen, or somebody might have tweeted at me actually, of wherever in I Am Legend. This is a deep I Am Legend cut, so get on it. Remember when he yells at the mannequin got moved? That mannequin is in that spot in the game. He's off to the side under a scaffolding, dressed the same way or whatever. Cool. And I was like, oh, right. And they showed side by side. I'm like, oh, that building is literally that building. Like, that's that exactly. Yeah.
So I like it. I know I'm not playing it as intended. I wonder how long I can go without playing with anyone else.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I'm going to play it further if I have to play with someone else.
I don't know if you're going to have to, honestly.
I'm pretty good at it, I think, but like the enemies are a little spongy. The weapon, I feel like the game tells you sometimes, like, it's like, oh, your shit's like under leveled, your gun or your armor or whatever. And I'm like, dude, like, you're not giving me much to work with here. And I don't have the blueprints necessary to make anything better.
Right.
The only reason I got a better assault rifle or like like an M4 style gun was because I went and bought it. I was using a level 3 or level 4 gun up until like level 10. Because it wasn't, I don't like bullet spray assault rifles, like AK style assault rifles that are I like this more surgical guns or whatever. And I just wasn't getting anything like that. So, but I think it's fun. I think that the skills are a little weird and samey. I haven't unlocked enough slots to really be able to explore everything. So I have like the healing skill and I use the pulse skill to see what the enemies are around me, and it gives me like a critical damage boost.
I love my turret.
Yeah, you're engineering, I guess. I don't. Yeah, so I mean that's a kind of a rambling kind of thing. I like it a lot. Yeah. I don't know that I'm in love with it, but it certainly has something about it that makes me want to play it. I want to play it when we're done here. So
yeah, exactly. No, that's my whole thought process on everything. Right, is that I want to get through all the work stuff to get to play this game, and that's awesome. I feel like, not that I haven't had those games recently, but I feel like there hasn't been a game for me to really jump in and sink my teeth into and get lost in and feel like I'm going to be playing this for a while. You know what I mean? Firewatch was, I'm in and out. This is happening. Far Cry put in, it was like, okay, no big deal. But this is a game where I like, even right now as we head into GDC, which is going to fuck everything up, and I'm gone for South by next weekend, like I still see myself getting into it next week. And I'm already making plans with Fran of like, all right, if you get to level 30, you're going to have to, we're going to have to figure out a way to carry me or get me there, or you to make another character to come back and play with me through these parts.
Yeah, the complaint I heard is that the game really hits a wall once you hit level 30. Like it's like, I have heard that from people that it's just not fun anymore. Like the level cap might be a little low.
Yeah, but I haven't, this is one of those games where I went into blackout on it, right? Love the idea, love what I saw, played the beta for 45 minutes to make sure I liked it, control wise, and I was out. So I don't know if they've addressed this, and I haven't done any research reading on it, but it strikes me the same way DC Universe did, right? Where it's like, level cap's 30 and it's low because we want it to be achievable. We want you to be able to hit that and then go out and do stuff. Because I think it's supposed, somebody tweeted me today, and again, I'm not digging because I don't want it ruined for me, but somebody tweeted at us today in response to the Gamescast topic about Division that went live. That was, when you get to 30, that's where it is where the fun starts. There is all this stuff to do in the dark zone. There are more, you know what I mean? I think really the dark zone becomes what you're supposed to be doing at level 30 and jumping in and getting more exotics and doing this and fighting with each other or against each other. And that's where they're talking about adding incursions, which are the raids, and doing all. And so it's like, if this is just the stepping stone to it, I'm fine with that. And that's the big thing I take away from it is like, right now I got a laundry list of complaints with it, right? Like from little stuff like, I upgraded my security wing so I'd have the appearance vendor, and I go to the appearance vendor, but when I get to an item, I can't preview it. I have to buy it to see if I like it. And it's like, well, that sucks. I don't want to. So I'm using like third-party sites now where I'm Googling image search and seeing what this is. I'm in, dude. I'm deep into this game. But then the bigger one, and the problem I've run into is the level discrepancy, where like I would have loved to have played with my one character with Christine this weekend, but for her starting a new character and me having a character that was at level 15 or 16 at the time, right? it would have screwed it up. Like you run into battles with other people that are higher level than you, and if they're high enough level, it's just you get the skull and crossbone over enemies. You can't do any damage. They kill you in one hit. It's like, that's not fun. So I had to roll another character to roll with her, which was fine, but it was still one of those things of, even when I'm getting stuff there, I'm like, man, I wish I was earning all this XP in one place, or I was building one thing. So I hope they fix stuff like that. But for me, it has, and I talked to a couple friends over the weekend that are big Destiny players, and it's one of those where we can't get a real consensus because they've only played a little bit of Division, whereas I played a lot of Division, and I've only played a little bit of Destiny, but they played a lot of Destiny. So it was one of those, me tossing it out to them of like, well, to me, this feels like what Destiny was when it first launched, where it was very like vanilla. Okay, there's this stuff and you're going to get hooks in you and you're going to enjoy this, but we're going to have to wait for content drops. And is that fair to say, or is it not fair to say? And there's no real consensus, and I'd like to see you guys discuss it in the chat or tweet at us below, or tweet at us, period, on what you guys know as experts, what you girls know as experts. Because that's the thing I don't have my head wrapped around. It feels like a game I'm going to play for a long, long time, but it does feel like I'm going to hit level 30, go out and get some cool guns, and then, all right, I'll wait for the next content drop and back on.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, what's going to happen to me. I can't imagine wanting to even play it at all if I reach level 30. Like once I'm there, I'm like, well, nothing I do matters anymore. So like, what's the point?
Sure.
Like that's absolutely going to happen to me. Like, why would you even play the game if you can't level?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not going to do it for gear. Who cares? Like,
well,
it's
yeah.
You know, like like that's just not the why I play games. It's like, yeah, I want guns and stuff, but I'm not going to get guns to like carve out, carve fucking holes in enemies for no reason. You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Number 6.
No.
Oh.
This is topic of the show, brother.
No, I forgot.
Turn it over to the community who can be part of the show by going to kindafunny.com/PSQ, just like Deacon050C did. He says, "Dear Colin and Greg, with the Division finally available, we now have another game out that I've seen people who are cold on it describe as, quote, dull and repetitive. My question is, what does dull and repetitive gameplay mean to you guys? Is it simply the gameplay structure that's being repeated throughout? The God of War series is one of my favorite franchises, and that certainly fits the bill on repetition. Is it how the game makes you feel when you accomplish something? It seems that with any game nowadays, regardless of if it gets a sizable acclaim, there will always be a segment who describe it as dull and repetitive. Thank you for all the content you provide, Eric."
That's totally subjective.
Right? That's the thing. I think
every game is repetitive if you really boil it down.
Yeah, it's the same. You build an engine that does the same mechanics, and you know what I mean? Like, look at what we've seen for Uncharted 4, right? It's like more vehicle driving, swinging from the grappling hook, shooting people. Like, is that dull and repetitive? Probably won't be. I mean, hard to say. I'm quoting a game, but based on the other Uncharted's, no, right? Because they'll mix it up. And for me, with the Division, that's the same thing where, yeah, like when it says virus encounter, when it says, break up the arms deal, I know exactly what kind of mission I'm about to get, but I personally, at least in my, experience, have found the AI to be really, really good. You know what I mean? Like, it does different things and it'll try to flank me. And then it's also playing this game of, I'll toss out the turret or my partner will draw their fire and then I get to flank around and I get some shots before they learn to turn to me. And it's like, oh, there's snipers up there. How do I want to advance and take them out, right? It's not, if you want to be a hater and step back and be like, the Division's gameplay is just arena third-person shooting, right? Well, that's true, and you could say that's dull and repetitive, but the more I play it, the more I find I'm getting out of it.
Yeah, I also just think that like I don't repetitive gameplay is a common complaint, and it's a valid complaint in many situations, but I just don't think that it's a valid complaint here just because it's the game's way more dynamic than just cover-based third-person shooting. There's just way more to do than that, and when you really boil every game down to its base mechanics, every game's repetitive. It's not like a game lets you do a million different things in it. Like you said, an engine allows for certain things and a gameplay style allows for certain things. God of War certainly is the epitome of repetitive, but that's not the problem with the game for me. Yeah. The problem is that it's the character sucks. Kratos sucks.
Yeah, he's always angry. He's got no range.
Yeah, no range at all. Like, who cares? Like that's the disappointing thing is like the games are fun. So I have different complaints about God of War than people might have the mechanical complaints, but I think mechanically God of War is very deep. So again, like it's all that's the subjective nature of game criticism. The games I love, the old classic Mario 8-bit kind of games are fucking repetitive as hell, but they're good.
Yeah. I think, and that's the thing, I think really when you're saying dull and repetitive and just repetitive in general, the problem is when you add dull. It's when you're not having fun, when there is no thought to what you're doing, right? Like, yeah, like I'm saying, Division on paper sounds repetitive, but the way I approach every one of these scenarios and what's happening, and maybe I want to advance up on this one, maybe I want to hang back and use my marksman rifle. Like that's what makes it exciting, maybe repetitive, you know what I mean? Whatever you want to say, but I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think it's a mechanically very sound game. It's got some wonkiness, close quarter combat. Not that it's designed for that. Is really weird. The camera freaks out when you're close to things. Cover acts a little finicky sometimes. Mechanically, it's imperfect, but no game is really perfect mechanically.
Yeah, I think it gets more right than it gets wrong.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've a few times, or not a few, but a couple times I've died where I'm like, that's bullshit. Like has nothing to do with what I was doing. The camera's fucking bugging out because I'm too close to this cover, or like I'm in a corner. I also find the game to be easy to manipulate. We were talking about Joe Farrow. That fight for me on normal was very easy to manipulate, but there are even like lieutenant kind of battles where like there's a sniper and engineer, and the engineer keeps making a turret or whatever, and like you can, like, especially with snipers far away, they appear, pow, 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 and then they go back down into the cover. So like you just wait for them to appear, they pop up, bop, one bullet to them, doing just a minimal amount of damage, duck. If you wait 5 minutes, you can kill them like that. Like it's just it's very easy to game. The AI doesn't seem to be super intelligent. They either seem to be like overly aggressive or not aggressive. Sometimes the AI doesn't turn on. So there are problems, but nothing I would like write home about.
Right.
And like fucking complain about.
Ace Rockarola forever says, good day, Colin and Greg. I'm a huge fan of both of you. Please keep up the fantastic work. I had an aha moment while playing The Division this morning. Is the dollar flu virus a metaphor for rampant consumerism? Walking around the temporarily frozen Black Friday madness of NYC is truly surreal. There is trash everywhere, a symbol of modern society's excessive consumption. Advertisements proudly displayed as if nothing ever happened. Extravagant Christmas decorations hang for no one to see. What do you guys think of the game's overall message? Do you think there's more than just a pandemic? Thanks for all you do. P.S. Olive juice.
No, I don't think there's a hidden message.
I don't either.
The trash is accumulating because there's no one to pick it up. I mean, I don't know that you can dig too deep. And maybe there is something to be said about consumerism here. I mean, this wasn't a Tom Clancy written. I mean, Tom Clancy's dead, but this isn't a deep Cold War thriller like he used to write or whatever.
Yeah.
In my mind, but I still find the story to be quite clever.
Yeah, 100%. Like, using our big one, this thing that like we've done topics in the Game Over Greg show, right? This thing that's like a black eye for what our country is and consumerism and capitalism, right? Using it against us.
Yeah,
we'll infect the money and put it out there, and hundreds of thousands of millions are going to touch this.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I think the story's brilliant. I was talking to my dad about it, who's obviously a New York native and New York City firefighter. And I was just saying, like, Manhattan is beautifully realized here, and it's quite eerie. Like the as I've said many times, like the Christmas decorations just being there in perpetuity, the weather being wintry, and New York's really hard. New York's weather, I think, is underestimated. It's not Chicago or Toronto or Boston, but it's got harsh weather. It's fucking hot as balls in the summer, and it is cold in the winter, and there's nowhere for anyone to go, and there's nowhere for anything to go. So like, in summer it's hot and it's just fucking scorching hot, and in the winter it's just really cold and there's just snow piles everywhere because there's nowhere to put it. And so I think that like the claustrophobia of New York City is really actually quite captured quite well in the game. And I don't know that there's a hidden message, and I don't think there has to be. It's a scary terrorist what if.
Yeah,
it shows you, not to get political, about how easy it is to do something like this. And I don't think it's like easy per se, but to put smallpox, for instance, on a few dollar bills and just pop them into circulation on Black Friday. It's lucky that, not that you don't want to tempt fate or whatever, but that like our creative people are way smarter than a lot of the terrorists we deal with, because it's like they come up with these like kind of ingenious, things that was like, oh man, this is kind of scary and very realistic. And what's happening to stop this from happening? Mm-hmm. And you almost don't want them to give anyone ideas.
No, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, but luckily terrorists see stuff like this, like, somebody beat me to it. I won't do that. I'll come up with a better idea.
Clancy,
like 100
ghostwriter. So I don't know that there's a hidden consumerist message. I do think we have. I mean, I've said before, I think Black Friday is an embarrassment, and I also think that our consumerist nature is run amok. I believe in the free market. I'm very much capitalist wholeheartedly, but I do think we have a lot of shame as a country for the way we do things. So maybe there is a hidden message there, but I don't think so. It would be a stupid thing to hide a message in a game that's not really plot driven anyway.
I think it's just something we can all relate to. We've been in those stores, right? You understand what Black Friday is, so you understand how this would spread like that and how scary that is. Like what you're saying, it is one of those scenarios like, holy shit, that would fuck everything up. Final division question for Tots comes from Fridge 1223.
The fridge?
Not the fridge. What?
The refrigerator?
Yeah,
Perry?
Mr. Perry is not watching this show. Dear Greg and Colin, I got The Division on day one, played it for a few hours, then a little longer the day after. I can confidently say this is a great game. The story is interesting enough to make me care, parentheses, unlike Destiny before the Taken King expansion. Matchmaking couldn't be easier, and customization is simple and awesome. Matchmaking is a pain in the ass when you have a million friends. That's why I'm clearing out my friends list. Remember, follow me on PSN, Game Over Greggy. And then, customization is simple and awesome. No, this is one of my other gripes on the small scale of it, is that all the characters look hideous. You don't have enough hairstyles for these people when you're building them, and I hate the fact that I can't preview my items, and I wish there was more clothes. But beyond that, it's easy, I guess, at that point. The guns are easy to mod. That I like. I feel like I'm getting a bunch of different cool armor and gear stuff. I just wish there was more visual tweaks to it. Anyways, I could go on, but I digress. My question is this. Do you think, with things seeming generally positive for the division, will that affect the development of Destiny 2 as far as story and gameplay goes? Thank you guys for being awesome dudes. You are. P.S. I love you. Fridge1223. Also my PSN name. I mean, I bet Destiny's looking at this. I don't know if they're immediately taking anything away from it based on the fact that I think Destiny, you mentioned the fact, are they taking something story-wise from this? I think Destiny knew early on that they needed to fix the story, which is why the Taken King was where it was, and why you assume whatever Destiny 2 is or what's next for Destiny will continue to drive home that message of here. This is a story.
I think that with Destiny, the only thing that they're observing with the Division is the huge crater in their player number probably right now that they probably saw the minute the Division launched, and I think that they probably saw a substantial hit. Whether or not that hit is permanent or not, I don't know. Because the Division has legs established. The Division, whether or not it has those legs, remains to be seen. I don't think Destiny needs the Division to let it know that it fucked up with the story. I think that it knew that. I think that they hired writers. I think that Destiny 2 is also well on its way, and I don't know that there's anything that can really change at this point. So, substantially from a design standpoint. So I'm sure they're looking at it and they're studying it, but these are two different games. Destiny is way bigger, I still think, than the Division's ever going to be.
Interesting.
And, I also think that, because first-person shooters are, I think, a little more friendly to more casual. And I'm not saying people that play Destiny are casual by any stretch. I'm just saying the first-person shooter for the Call of Duty crowd is more familiar. The story was a huge problem. I do agree that the Division sets a cadence with its video, its opening video, and it drives story, it drives it all the way, even if you don't really care about the cleaners and all that kind of stuff. Like there's still a story there. I played Destiny for 5, 6, 7 hours. I had no idea what the fuck was really even going on in the game. So, and maybe that would have been the hook I needed to keep me engaged, but it wasn't there. So I don't know that they need to learn that from the Division. They know.
I think it's more what the Division needs to learn from Destiny, because everybody I'm playing with, whether it's Fran or somebody else, is talking about the fact of like, this is cool and I like it, but it's not Destiny in the sense of like, you're just getting guns and cool, this one does more damage, but you're not getting something like the Gjallarhorn, and you're not getting capes that light up or do this when that happens. You know what I mean? It's just clothes and this, and that's cool for right now. Sorry. Cool for right now, but it's not, building out this world that needs to be. I think it was, Jeff Gerstmann over the weekend beat the final mission, right? And he was talking about, his tweets have been like, beat this hard mission or whatever, got a better AK. Beat this mission, got a better AK. Beat the final mission in the game, got a better AK. I don't know what I was expecting, kind of thing. You know what I mean? And it's one of those where, now you got me thinking about it, which is probably for the best. It's one of those where that's fine, but is that going to be enough to keep people around forever?
That's what I'm saying. I just don't know that this game, and I said that on Gamescast, and I do stand by that I don't know that this game has the legs. Like I just don't know yet.
Yeah.
Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but the proof's going to be in the pudding, and and it's not been in the wild long enough.
Exactly. When people universally are hitting level 30 and knowing more what that looks like, and then we get maybe the first couple content drops, that's when you'll really know.
The grind for me to get to level fucking 12 took 15 hours, so I can't. I mean, I see people running around in the hubs with like level 30 and stuff, and I'm like, I have no idea how you possibly did this, but
sure.
And I feel like I'm playing the game quite engaged with it. So,
but you roll faster with crews. That's the thing.
Sure, but I also think that normal people don't play like that.
Sure.
So that's gonna tell the tale. Number 6, EverQuest Next, the ambitious new MMO from Daybreak, formerly Sony Online Entertainment, has officially been canceled.
Womp womp.
Slated for release on PS4 as well as PC, notice of the unexpected cancellation came by way of Daybreak's president, Russ Shanks, who revealed the news in a letter to the audience. He said in part, quote,
Oop. Got a typo?
Yeah.
What did you say?
No quote there. I'm writing today to let you know that after much review and consideration, Daybreak is discontinuing development of EverQuest Next. For the past 20 years, EverQuest has been a labor of love. What started as a deep passion of ours as game creators grew into a much larger passion shared by you, millions of players and Daybreakers alike. Watching EverQuest's ability to entertain and bring people together has inspired and humbled us. It shaped our culture and has emboldened us to take aggressive risks with our game ideas and products. When we decided to create the next chapter in the EverQuest journey, we didn't aim low. We set out to make something revolutionary. For those familiar with the internals of game development, you know that cancellations are a reality we must face from time to time. Inherent to the creative process are dreaming big, pushing hard, and being brutally honest with where you land. In the case of EverQuest Next, we accomplished incredible feats that astonished industry insiders. Unfortunately, as we put together the pieces, we found that it wasn't fun. We know you have high standards when it comes to North, and we do too. In final review, we had to face the fact that EverQuest Next would not meet the expectations we and all of you have for the worlds of Norath. End quote.
Sad, but cool. It's a cool message. Hey, we played this game and it wasn't fun. Like, why? We're not going to put it out there. We're not going to do the thing where we release a game that isn't great and then try to fix it as we go.
I think there's more to this story now that I've thought about it for a while.
Lay it on me. What's the more?
I think that the development of an MMO is about a lot of front-end investment, but then it's a lot about back-end support with your servers and people making add-on content and like constantly supporting this game. People still play EverQuest and EverQuest 2. Mm-hmm. These games are ancient, you know, and when I moved to California in 2007, although this was, you know, and I lived with this guy for 2008, like he was still playing EverQuest 2 at that time, like every night. He had like a phone line that him and his friends would all call into that like just talk to each other. This was a while ago, but so that does have a hardcore audience, but I just feel like they looked at it and said like, well, like to me, and I guess I'm biased because I just don't play MMOs. MMOs just aren't that fun to be like in my mind where I'm like, they're all the same. It's just about like questing and finding shit. And like, I don't understand really what differentiates these games from each other in terms of like the style. They're MMOs. And I'm sure that that's a shallow thing for me to say for a lot of people. But to me, I'm like, when I read that statement again, I'm like, you guys just don't think you can make this work. Like, I feel like that's more the thing. Like they look and they're like, well, WoW is still going and its numbers are falling, but certainly they probably have something new in line. You see something like the Elder Scrolls Online, which is doing pretty well, Final Fantasy 14, and then you look at, you know, studios that are failing. NCSoft just had problems with WildStar and all this kind of stuff, and you're like, well, like, who's gonna play this? Like that, I honestly think that was the thing where they were like, we can't support this game. There's too much competition. That's what I talk about with games like Destiny and The Division and all these games that require lots of time and attention. There can only be so many of them, and in the MMO realm, where MMO players play MMOs and they play the MMOs they like, where does EverQuest fit? Exactly. You play the game and you, I think. So I don't know that it's not fun. I don't know if I believe that was the reason. I think you're in line with the same. And I mean, again, we'll never know, but I think you're in line with what they could be saying here, right? This game is not fun. There is no hook to it. There is no reason you would pick this or deviate from, even though WildStar has had layoffs, deviate from WildStar, Guild Wars, Final Fantasy. Like the list goes on. It's a short list that goes on, like established MMOs that have an audience, and is this one that's not doing anything special out of the gate, we'll say, you know what I mean? Doesn't have anything that's gonna turn heads when it comes out of the gate. Like, is that even worth going for? And they're like, no, because they know by the time to get whatever they want to get into it to make it fun, quote unquote, it wouldn't be there. Sure. Number 7. Star Wars Battlefront's first substantial piece of DLC, Outer Rim, has been dated and priced via GameStop's website. The DLC will launch on April 5th and will cost $15. According to the DLC's brief description on GameStop's website, you will, quote, fight among the factories of Sullust and battle within Jabba the Hutt's palace on Tatooine in the Star Wars Battlefront Outer Rim digital expansion, end quote. The DLC contains 4 new maps, as well as Num and Greedo as playable characters, and a new game mode called Extraction. Don't care. Number 8. Dead Island 2 isn't so dead after all. Deep Silver's game, which was seemingly canceled or at least put on ice after developer Jaeger was removed from the project, has been given to a new developer. Sumo Digital, the studio most recently behind Little Big Planet 3 and who has contributed to the likes of Forza Horizon 2, Disney Infinity 3.0, Crackdown 3, and Sonic Dash 2, has taken the game over. Word comes by way of MCV, which confirmed the news and spoke to Koch Media CEO Dr. Clemens Kondratsits. Koch Media, of course, is the owner of Deep Silver, who noted, quote, Sumo showed so much understanding of the brand, had creative ideas and an excellent vision that was aligned with our own. It just made perfect sense for us to move the project to them. We will reveal more details at a later stage, but for now, I'd like to say that we are obviously super excited about the progress that we are making with them, end quote. Sumo Digital's COO, Paul Porter, said, quote, it's an honor to be charged with the evolution of such an important franchise in Deep Silver's catalog. They spell catalog like a British person. We're looking forward to exceeding fan expectations with an ambitious design that we're confident will take bone-crunching, visceral zombie action to a whole new level, end quote. That's exciting. It is. Sumo's coming up. Yeah, exactly. It's what you go through what they've done, and it's fun to see them start branching out a bit more, right? Where they're not just contributing to something. Little Big Planet, I'm sure, was a little bit in that step direction, but it's like And what Little Big Planet 3, some people liked, but a lot of people didn't.
Exactly. And it's in it, but that's what happens when you give somebody like all this, I'm sure these assets and this idea of what this is supposed to be. You imagine with Dead Island, it's just like, all right, make an open world RPG with zombies.
Sure.
You know, that's all it needs to be. They scrap this whole California idea or whatever and go at it.
Number 9. There's a lot of Witcher / CD Projekt Red news to go over. For starters, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt has shipped nearly 10 million copies, making it a huge hit. That brings CD Projekt Red's Witcher series to 20 million sold. Additionally, the developer is currently planning 3 games in addition to the substantial Witcher 3 add-on Blood and Wine, which is set for release this year. As part of their plans for 2016 slide that they did, that they released as part of their financials, the game is playing the studio. I want to correct that.
Correct it, please.
See it
for the record.
The studio is planning to release, quote, a new type of video game format previously unexplored by the studio, unquote. Their plans for 2017 through 2021 include the release of Cyberpunk 2077, the long development RPG, as well as an additional AAA RPG, in quotes. Perhaps that's Witcher 4. That's what I would assume. As for Cyberpunk 2077, the studio said that it needs to be, quote, even better, even bigger, even more revolutionary, end quote, than originally planned because of The Witcher 3 success, and that the game is still, quote, a long ways away, end quote, from being released, and that they have, quote, a lot of work to do, end quote, to make it a, quote, truly outstanding game. End quote. I saw you do this. Do you think they're going to release a VR headset?
No.
Or a VR headset, a VR game?
No, I have no idea what it is, but it's just you're jumping to conclusions on your jump to conclusions, Matt.
Right.
A new kind of game, a new thing, a new platform. Is that what they said?
Yeah, a new type of video game format previously unexplored by the studio. Now, I'm not trying to make fun of anyone, but they are Polish, and this could be an awkward English translation as well, like format.
Maybe it's a kart racer.
But what does that mean for a new type of format? I don't know what that means.
Floppy disk.
Yeah, they're going to put it on 3 3/4 inch.
Yeah, exactly.
Hard disks. So we'll see. Congratulations to them.
Remember when the real floppy disks with the big ones
5
in
1/4 inch
circle?
Yeah, and you turn them over.
Yeah. I don't like that. Then these also floppy disk can also mean these little guys.
Yeah,
that's not what they're called.
3 3/4 inch.
I don't like that one bit.
And then you had zip drive, zip disks, and what was the other zip drive?
Mini disc was a big one.
Mini disc was the Sony one, but there was a zip and there was a even bigger one. Hold on. I want to look this up. I had a zip drive. I had a zip drive. 100 megabytes. It was like,
oh man. I remember when I got a 128 meg stick, USB stick. I was like, holy jeez. I had to buy it for college.
Why can't I remember what this is called? Yeah, I was so excited when I got a zip drive. Like,
I remember when that was like a legit thing when it was like, my course requirements for magazine layout in college at Mizzou when I had to get a 128 meg stick. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is the future. This is what I always wanted. All the contents of my hard drive on one stick.
I guess I can't find it. Maybe I'm just making it up.
Maybe you are. Wouldn't it be the first time?
Jazz. That's what it was.
Never heard of that one.
That was like 2 gigabytes. They're like gigabyte discs. Jazz drives. Okay. Number 11.
Oh, Jazz drives. That does sound familiar.
The second of 3 episodes in The Walking Dead Michonne as a release date. The episode entitled Give No Shelter will launch on March 29th.
Good.
Which you're excited about.
Crazy that it's actually happening so quickly.
Yeah.
Telltale trying to be not Telltale.
Yeah. Number 11, Platinum Games' upcoming Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games Mutants in Manhattan has a release date. It will come to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3, as well as Xbox One, Xbox 360, and PC on May 24th.
Interesting. I'm interested in that game.
I am too. Valkyrie, number 12, Valkyrie Chronicles Remastered, which is headed exclusively to PlayStation 4, officially has a release date. It will launch in North America and Europe, digitally and physically, on May 17th. The game will cost $29.99, and special editions will be available in both regions. The remaster contains all DLC released for the game, as well as a full set of trophies.
Fuck yes.
Number 13.
Oh, God, yes.
Is PlayStation 4's store getting a redesign? It sure looks like it. Twitter user named NoteWise posted pictures to Twitter as he apparently ran into the store to redesign in the wild while browsing the digital store. The look of the screens provided are much cleaner than the way the store looks right now. Whether or not this was done as a brief test or something prematurely launched or something that is part of the upcoming firmware 3.50 rollout remains to be seen. But you guys can look all that up if you want to see it.
All I want is a full keyboard for typing in a search thing. Instead of going S, and then it's like scroll down,
it's obnoxious.
U, and then scroll down and P.
There's just things where I'm like, why did you do this? Like, who told you this was a good idea? Number 14, PlayStation Vue is about to launch across the United States. Sony's TV streaming service, which has been running in select test markets, will be headed to 203 new markets. There are 3 pricing models, Access, Core, and Elite. Access will cost $29.99 a month and include 55 plus channels. Core will cost $34.99 a month and include 70 plus channels. Elite will cost $44.99 and include 100 plus channels. So you can check that out if you want.
There you go, Trevor Starkey, who I believe I laughed out of the room once when he asked about that. Remember that when he was like, oh, I know a lot of people are excited about this. What about PlayStation Vue?
What about it? Number 15, Wrap up.
Wrap it up.
Score-centric shooter Tracker comes to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita later in 2016, and props to them because they gave us a shout out in their blog post.
Yeah.
Cat Simulator Cat Lateral Damage comes to PS4 on March 22nd. Old school style RPG Dragon Fantasy The Black Tome of Ice comes to PS4 on March 22nd. This is an updated version and fixed version of Dragon Fantasy Book 2 that was on PS3 and Vita. Sci-fi action adventure game Divide comes to PS4 at some point later in 2016. Plot-driven puzzle game The Magic Circle Gold Edition comes to PS4 on May 10th. Rhythm/action game Thumper is coming to PSVR later in 2016.
Yeah.
The Quirky Worms WMD is coming to PS4 later on in 2016. Fast-paced action game Fury is coming to PS4 sometime in 2016. The bizarre game where everything is a playable character, Everything, comes to PS4 in the future, in quotes.
Good.
Hitman's disc-based release has been delayed until 2017. The reimagined Amplitude will finally be coming to PlayStation 3 as promised this April. It came to PS4 at the very beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And finally, the third chapter in the all-new King's Quest Once Upon a Climb will launch on PS4 and PS3 on April 26th. And that is it for Roper's Report.
Colin.
Yes.
I can't wait for Cat Simulator. But if I wanted to know what came to Mom and Grop digital shops, where would I go?
You go to the list of upcoming PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, sometimes PSP software by the Kinda Funny co-founders. Let's go through this.
No.
Starting with Aegis of Earth Proto-Novus Assault comes to PS4, PS3, and PS Vita digitally and retail. It says Aegis of Earth Proto-Novus Assault is a frenetic and explosive new spin on action strategy gaming. Plan out and build up your defenses as hordes of hulking monstrosities bombard your heavily fortified city in an attempt to wipe you off of the earth for good.
Oh, okay.
Arcade Archives Bubble Bobble comes to PS4 digitally. Bubble Bobble is an action game that was released by Taito in 1986. Players control the twin bubble dragons that are called Bubblin' and Boblin and travel through 100 different stages.
Okay.
The game became popular and led to a long series of sequels and spin-offs. Bubble Bobble is a great game. Whether or not this version of it is going to be any good, I don't know.
Is it just a classic game?
It's what it looks like, yeah.
That'll be fine then.
Candlelight comes to PS4 digitally. After a mysterious entity extinguishes all the candles in the land, a lone surviving candle sets out the most important adventure to bring light back to the land.
Okay.
Degeneration HD comes to PS4
Degeneration X
digitally. A virus has escaped at Genok HQ in London, and Derrida, the lead scientist at Genok, has asked you to help save the day. Degeneration was a popular isometric puzzle game written in 1991 by Robert Cook. Degeneration HD has been recreated from the original source code and contains all the original features and puzzles, but in glorious HD.
Whoa.
EA Sports UFC 2 comes to PS4 digital and retail. Look, you were having a stroke.
Just yawning there. Got me.
EA Sports UFC 2 is the complete fighting experience you have been waiting for. With a bigger roster of fighters, stunning character visuals, and a revolutionary new knockout physics system, finishing the fight has never been more real and satisfying.
Finish the fight.
Joe Devers' Lone Wolf Console Edition comes to PS4 digital. This comes out the 16th, so this is a Wednesday release. It says Lone Wolf, the fantasy fiction RPG gamebook classic by Joe Dever, is reimagined for a new generation with a brand new story, deep combat systems, stunning graphics, and much more. Make meaningful choices and carve your own path through this epic non-linear adventure. Murasaki Mist Akara's Journey comes to Vita digitally. It says accompany Akara in a long journey that will take her to the deep bowels of hell itself. Gameplay is fast-paced with many monsters and demons offering a frenetic challenge while the player hacks his way through. Paragon comes to early access.
Hey!
PS4 digital opens March 18th for founders. Paragon is a MOBA from Epic Games that puts you in the fight with explosive action, direct third-person control, and deep strategic choice. It's a game for nerds.
Colin, you are undefeated at MOBAs. Are you going to play Paragon?
No, not a prayer.
Okay.
Salt and Sanctuary comes to
There we
PS4
go.
digital. This game looks fucking awesome. A doomed sailor is shipwrecked on an uncharted island. In fog-shrouded valleys where grinning, mossy corpses cling to rusted arms, shambling figures begin to stir. Salt and Sanctuary combines fast, brutal 2D combat with richly developed RPG mechanics. Explore a cursed realm of forgotten cities, blood-soaked dungeons, desecrated monuments, and the fallen lords they once celebrated. Game looks really good.
Yeah.
Just want to reiterate that. Samurai Warriors 4 Empires comes to PS4, PS3, and Vita digital. The PS4 version will also be at retail. Samurai Warriors 4 Empires provides an alternative take on the events depicted in Samurai Warriors 4, which is what I've been always looking for, using the historical landscape as a setting for an exciting strategy-focused game. Players have the opportunity to create their own characters to serve in the lower ranks of the army, gradually rising through the ranks to eventually rule the entire land through their conquests. Sebastian Loeb Rally Evo, or EVO, I don't know if you say that, how you say that, PS4 digital. Says 58 car models from legends of the past to the modern era, more than 186 miles of real tracks, and a game mode fully dedicated to celebrating the successes of the 9-time rally champion, Sebastian Loeb. What are you waiting for? experience real rally.
I won't.
Oh God. Senran Kagura Estival Versus comes to PS4 and Vita, digital and retail. Says a mystical phenomenon transports the shapely shinobi of the titular series to a parallel dimension to face off against their rivals in a new kind of battle. In this strange but sunny island paradise, the girls find themselves face to face with their departed loved ones. Can they bear to part from them for a second time? Senran Kagura Estival Versus boasts more moves, more story, more attitude, and more destruction. And more other things, I'm sure, as well. Sheltered comes to PS4 digital.
Damn, it's a big week.
Sheltered is a deep and emotional survival and post-apocalyptic disaster management game. After a global apocalypse, a frightened family finds its way to a deserted shelter. You take on the role of protecting 4 family members. Their well-being and survival is your responsibility. One mistake, one bad decision, and a loved one is gone forever. That sounds pretty cool. And finally, Tetrobot & Co. comes to PS4 digital. Help Maya guide Psychobot through Tetrobot's cogs and circuits. By swallowing blocks of matter and spitting them out, we can repair anything. Learn how pipes, lasers, fans, and other electronic devices work. Learn how to alter the chemical properties of slime and collect all the memory blocks that you find on the way.
Gotta get that chemical imbalanced slime out of there.
That's it.
Get right in there. Change the bits and bobs, their molecules, their atoms.
That's all we have.
Not a great week. Salt and Sanctuary.
Salt and Sanctuary is awesome.
That seems like the clear standout. UFC if you're into that kind of stuff.
And that survival, that game about being in the Fallout shelter.
Yeah, but did you ever play this War of Mine?
No, I don't think so.
Similar idea.
Oh, that was the one that just came out not too long ago.
Yeah.
That was a World War II game, though, wasn't it?
It was a war game. I don't know if it's, I think it's modern. I think it's like you're supposed to be in a Eastern European country. Well, some stuff's happened.
Okay.
While it's popping off, while it's going down. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough.
Yeah. You understand? You picking up what I'm laying down?
Yeah, gotcha. I'm clear.
Colin, it's time for trophy time. If you didn't know, this is a segment where we talk about trophies. Colin runs you through what trophies are new, and we answer questions about trophies. And this week, it's brought to you by Harrys.com. Guys! Everybody knows good things come in sets of 3. What does that have to do with anything? Well, get this. March is the 3rd month of the year, and it happens to be our friends over at Harry's 3rd year anniversary as a business. And if you're new to Harry's, I've got a special deal for you to try 3 of their expertly crafted 5-blade German razors, a handle, and shave cream for just $10. Harry's doesn't like to do discounts because their prices are already so low, but we've worked out a special offer for you guys. Harry's will give you $5 off your first order with promo code PS. Stop overpaying for a great shave. Go to harrys.com right now. That's HARRYS.com. Enter code PS at checkout. Colin, what do you got for me in the way of trophies this week?
We have 3 games I want to go over. So one of them was the Whitetail Challenge that we did last week.
Does it have a platinum?
It does. And what I wanted to go over was that it has 6 game owners and 5 platinum achievers. So this seems like it could be an easy platinum. The platinum on PSN profiles, not that it's all inclusive because it's only people that are tracking themselves on the site, 83.3% have the platinum.
Okay. Read me some of these trophies. Any of them getting hard here?
First flashlight found, first medicine kit found, first rations found, first ammo found, first buck tag found, all silver. First coyote harvest, first doe harvest, first buck harvest with a shotgun, and then with the AR-15. And then access to the alpine forest, access to winter woods, access to bushlands, access to cypress swamp, all gold. Harvest the legendary buck, gold. So, not a very...
And the game's out last week, so it's already out. Okay. Mm-hmm. Is there a forum thread for it going on PSN profiles?
Let me look. Because
that'll have the whole thing here.
The only thing on here says, beware, same developer as World Hunter. All right, and then Sheltered, the game I just talked about, looks like it has an interesting trophy list. Survive a week, survive 100 days, travel 100 miles, so you're traveling around a map, travel 500 miles, 1,000 miles, search for 200 locations, craft your first object, trap an animal on the shelter surface, etc. Take the RV out on an expedition, fend off a breach by killing each intruder, etc. This game intrigues me. I think I want to look into this game. And finally, Salt and Sanctuary trophies seem to be pretty achievable. Defeat the Sodden Knight, defeat the Queen of Slime. So there's a bunch of those trophies. There's probably almost half the list is defeating enemies.
Yeah.
And then it says achieve the maximum upgrade level of weapons, achieve the maximum devotion level in your creed, take an oath to the Order of the Betrayer, take an oath to the House of Splendor. So a bunch of oaths. Bear all possible brands, discover your first brand, aid in unraveling sorcerer. So it seems like a pretty achievable list for Salt and Sanctuary. So nothing too glamorous, but those are the 3 games that I wanted to go over.
How are you feeling about division trophies?
They're good. I'm getting them.
Yeah.
As I go, but you have to go into the dark zone and you have to play with people. So I don't know that I'm gonna get the platinum. I don't know that I would play it long enough to get the platinum.
It's early. I still hold out the belief that I might platinum the Division. The problem it's going to be is like there's one I think it's we could look it up I guess, but I think it's get 20 rogue agents, take care of 20 rogue agents. There's a certain number of rogue agents I have to kill, which maybe if we can trick the system, go in there with Fran or somebody, have him go rogue, shoot him in the head, do that 20 times or whatever. Okay.
Sure.
But otherwise that's going to be a bitch it seems like to get. But I don't see anything that's going to keep me other than that. We have one question for Trophy Time, Colin. It comes from the Milo Pearson, who wrote into kindafunny.com/PSQ, just like you can to be part of the show. He says, hey guys, quick Trophy Time question. What do you all think is the most egregious platinum snub? I think that it's Child of Light. It's a pretty substantial game. I got all the trophies anyway because the game is excellent, but I find it confounding that the game was not deemed worthy of a platinum. Cheers, Milo Pearson. P.S. Jeff has a urinary problem. Yeah, I understand what you're saying here, Milo. What are the games that don't have platinums that offend us? Immediately, I think recently, Gone Home. Gone Home should have had a platinum trophy.
I don't know if I agree with you.
It should have, yes. It was a game of importance. Here's the thing, is that it's broken. It's broken. It used to be that digital games don't get platinum trophies, right? That was the call from PlayStation.
Yeah.
Then that wall fell down, and now if Taco Master has a platinum, Gone Home should have a platinum.
Oh, I agree. I don't disagree with you there.
Okay.
But I do think that not all games, Taco Master shouldn't have had a platinum, and it's a good way to sell games.
Yeah,
but
it worked out.
Gone Home with a platinum, it's like, what can you possibly do in that game?
I still think when you see a game that doesn't have a platinum trophy, it doesn't seem like it's a real game. It's the same thing with like Ground Zeroes for Metal Gear, right? Well, then it's kind of like a demo or whatever. What am I doing with it? And that's the other. I mean, like the fact that Ground Zeroes doesn't have a platinum is weird. That's another game that is hours and hours of your time to play through.
That was a weird. I'm just looking through my list of games.
No, I understand. Another one for me that stands out, which is weird because it's gone backwards, is Walking Dead Season 2. Walking Dead Season 1 had a platinum, but Walking Dead Season 2 didn't.
That's
Walking Dead
one.
Michonne doesn't. It's like, wait,
I would say that as well, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, well, I don't understand why this is suddenly all effed up on this front.
Yeah. Just because they don't care.
It's not that. Here's the thing. Well, I guess it is that. I don't think it's that they don't care. I think it's that they hit that first gatekeeper who replies back, "No, it's got to be this way because." And it's the same way I feel Kojima or Walking Dead or whoever. They're just like, "All right, cool. We're making games. We don't really give a shit about this. We're trying to get this game done to hit this point."
Someone has to tell them at some point, like,
that's our job.
This matters.
Yeah.
A good trophy list matters. That's why I'm so excited to see Uncharted 4 because I'm like, are you gonna fuck this up again? You can't possibly be fucking this up again.
I bet they are, as I've already said. I do say they're going to.
I remember like a while ago we met the guy. I can't remember the gentleman's name. The guy who worked at was responsible for The Last of Us' trophies. And he's like, yeah, I did. And I thought it was funny. I'm like, there's nothing funny or good about that list. I'm sorry to have to tell you that. Like,
Bearonza wrote into kindafunny.com/PSQ just like you can and says, got a question from my boy Colin. Colin, on last week's podcast, you reaffirmed your hatred for the trophies of The Last of Us. I've heard you
suck.
I've heard you state this a few times over the years, but I can't recall if you've ever gone in depth as to what you exactly despise about the trophies. My take is that I believe Naughty Dog was mostly smart in their decision to make the trophy list small and somewhat tough. Every single item you collect in The Last of Us is precious, especially in survival mode, and I believe the trophies similarly reflect that. Constantly scrounging for a single bullet or glass shard is a chore, and the trophies you get for upgrading Joel's weapons and abilities should reflect that. Where I think Naughty Dog stumbled is in having to complete the game 3 times to get the Survivor Plus mode trophy. And though the online game is a lot of fun, I would have been fine with 1 gold trophy for completing either as a Firefly or Hunter and then gone on with my life. Otherwise, it's my opinion that Naughty Dog put a lot of thought into The Last of Us trophies as opposed to Uncharted style kill everything with every gun/grenade/fist trophy list. Would love a classic in-depth analysis from my boy, nay, America's boy, Colin Moriarty.
I mean, you named it. It's like you have to beat the game at least 3 times. You can go through it could take you more than that to get all the trophies in The Last of Us if you don't do it right, and you don't start with the intent of getting the platinum from the very beginning, which a lot of people wouldn't because the trophies are hidden, and some of them are, and you don't want to necessarily care about the trophies your first playthrough. Like, it's just the repetition in getting the trophies in that game. It sucks. Like the trophy list just sucks. I have no problem with difficult trophies. I have to talk about BioShock's trophy list being really hard but really fair. I just think that much more thought needs to be put into it. And I just think that The Last of Us trophies were worse than Uncharted's. Because at least Uncharted's are consistent and they make sense in some respect, but like this is like garbage. This list was garbage,
Mm-hmm.
and I stand by that.
No, I agree. I beat The Last of Us and I enjoyed The Last of Us, but when it popped like 2 trophies or whatever, I was just like, well, and I looked at the list and I'm like, no, I'm never going to go back and do all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to play the game that way, especially a game I love that much. You know what I mean?
There's a middle ground. Like, the Order 1886 is a good example of a bad trophy list because it was too easy. So there is a middle ground to be found. It's just they have to find it.
Yeah. But to your point, no, Uncharted 4 is not going to change anything. Uncharted 4 is going to be
I hope it does.
You don't come into the 4th game and blow up the trophy list. Tradition, Colin.
We'll see.
Colin.
We'll see. I hope that they do.
We'll see soon enough, I'm sure.
Yeah. Not too soon.
Let's jump in to reader mail.
Molotov cocktail.
Mail order bride. You can go to kindoffunny.com/PSQ to have your question read on the show. And why don't we just start with what we're already talking about? DeMoffat says, 2 of my favorite people, Greg and Colin. Is Uncharted 4 going to fill my gaming void? Nothing has really been that exciting to me in terms of more recent games that have come out. I just beat the Dying Light expansion, and now I'm back to being bored and fantasizing about Uncharted 4. Is there any way you guys would look at my trophies to see if there are any serious omissions games I should... No. We're not going to do that. Do you think it's going to fill the void for him, though?
Sure it will for a weekend, and then you'll blaze through it, and then if you don't like the online, then you're going to be bored again.
You should know if you like the online by now. This is their 3rd time at it. You know you like Uncharted multiplayer. If you're going to play it. I see myself playing that for a weekend. You know what I mean? Screwing around with that, shooting around, getting my AK.
I know what you mean.
Getting my perks, being Elena.
I know what you mean.
Having her be all cute, running around doing stuff. But yeah, I don't... The more interesting point is here, I feel like he's doing what you always talk about, being up games' ass.
Yeah.
Like you don't need to be playing stuff if you're bored with games.
Yeah, just
you don't
go
have
do
to sit
something
around and do... Yeah, you can...
I didn't play games for a while, and I was reinvigorated, and I came back, and I'm excited about them again. Now there's a bunch of games I want to play. So give yourself a little space. Do something else. Doesn't make you any less of a gamer.
No.
In fact, I think it makes you less of a gamer if you feel like you have to play games.
True.
Then it's a chore. Then you're a slave to games.
Colin.
And I am no slave.
Aren't you?
No.
I saw this dog ordering
I'm
around
a
this
free
weekend.
man. Oh, Lola.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love her. She has my heart.
The one and only Ken Kutaragi submitted a question via kindoffunny.com/PSQ and says, "What's up, guys?
Hey, Ken.
It is
Haven't heard from you in a while.
It is now pretty much clear that there is not going to be a Vita successor. What do you think will happen to all the Vita and PSP games on the PlayStation Store once the hardware is discontinued? Will all the games just disappear, or do you think we'll be able to play 480 by 272 PSP games on our 4K TVs in 10 years through emulation or streaming? Same goes for PS3 games. As far as I understand, PS4 is not powerful enough to emulate PS3, and PS5 may be as well. So, what will happen to all our PS3 games on the store once PS3 hardware is no more? PS Now sure does not seem to be taken off. It seems this is going to be the first occasion when a console goes away, but its games stay. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think, first of all, PS4 is definitely capable of emulating PS3.
It's powerful enough. It's just that cell thing, and it's all complicated.
And they're not going to do it. And then I don't think it's a big deal. People that make a big deal out of this, I don't get it.
I don't think it's a big deal either, but I remember that being weird. Because it was one of those things leading up to it. When we're talking about PlayStation 4, it seemed like such a no-brainer that my digital version of Journey would work on the digital successor to the PlayStation 3.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, but it also doesn't. I mean, it's the architecture is different, making the networks talk to each other. They're different, they're running different versions of PlayStation Network.
We know all that now. I'm just saying back then.
Yeah, sure. And I just don't think it's a big deal. And of course, it's obvious from a market demand reason. Like, they can sell these games again, and they have PS Now and Gaikai and all that kind of stuff. They can make these collections and all this stuff. There's some sort of market imperative to not make your console backwards compatible, which is why Microsoft did do it, because they needed some goodwill. And I think that was a huge announcement for them at E3. And I think, bravo to them for that. I just don't think it's that big of a deal. My suspicion, I have 2 suspicions. One is that the PSP and Vita store will remain online in perpetuity. They're going to start running into licensing problems. This hardware is going to start being irrelevant. I don't think it's going to exist in 15 years or something like that. But I think that, like, when the Vita is discontinued, they're not going to shut it all down. They can make little money, like, off of it in very minimal upkeep. It's just a matter of if the licensees want to keep their games on this network for long. The other thing is that I think that eventually you probably will be able to play these games on, maybe not PS4, but something else on PC or something. Like, Sony's obviously more comfortable now making, PC is going to run remote play with PS4 on update 3.5. So I think that you'll have some sort of digital solution, I think. Otherwise, these games do go away forever, and that would be sad. A lot of them do. Some of them are hard copies, but
sure. UMDs,
yeah,
Universal,
or
they play in
Vita
anything.
or Vita cards. So it's it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I don't think that, I think like 2020, even 2025, I think the Vita store may still exist. You know, like what do they have to do to keep it up? Like nothing. It's just money. And then once in a while something breaks and they just send an engineer to go fix it.
Yeah, that'll be the more interesting thing of how many links are dead. They go nowhere. But yeah, it's a fascinating question. I do imagine when Vita is all said and done, when PS3 is all said and done, that yeah, you figure out a way to emulate, open up a Wii mode, you know what I mean, where you can get to those games and get in there and download and buy again. Because why not? And if they are already there, don't you want that library? That's the one thing PC gaming has going for it. On top of, you know, it's the ease of use in terms of like everything plays everywhere. You don't have to worry about it. Sure. You have this giant library. You'd like that on PlayStation. I'm sure PlayStation would like you to have that. Sure. I don't know if they're seeing anybody demand that though, based right now on their PlayStation 3 library. Really going forward, I feel like is where the digital step is taking off, right? It's kind of like we think about the fact of online gaming being this big thing on PlayStation 3 as far as like the launch pad, but there was SOCOM on PS2. There were other games on PS2. It's just nobody's clamoring saying that's what it was. Here's where it really matters. Just like here's where digital really matters probably.
Yeah. We'll see how it all shakes out. I think PC is going to be a good solution. I think you're right. Danganronpa and Danganronpa 2. Well, Danganronpa's already out. Danganronpa 2 is going to launch on Steam soon. I think a lot of these, especially Japanese publishers, are starting to send their stuff to Steam. You're seeing the same thing with Falcom doing stuff with the East games and Legend of Heroes. So that might be a different kind of solution. But I just don't believe that they're just going to like suspend the network.
Turn the lights off, yeah.
That just doesn't make any sense.
Close out the servers.
Yeah. They shut servers down for multiplayer games because they make no money, but this thing can sit here for years and probably make enough money to justify its existence.
Stephen Odell went to kindafunny.com/PSQ and says, hello, Greg and Colin.
Hello.
The E3 discussion in the most recent episode was interesting to hear, and I agree that the likes of EA and Activision not having their booths at this year is telling. E3, as we know it now, may not be that way for long. But the conversation was from a business and or press side. So I was wondering, how do you two feel it affects the audience of a show like E3? One of the reasons I love E3 week is because it always feels like the gaming community as a collective whole comes together to celebrate and revel in anything and everything video games. Like it's the most visible example of our passions, players, developers, publishers, PR, press, all of us for the medium. Sure, there's snark and derision, I think. Thank you. All over the internet during the week, as with every other week then. But generally speaking, I do feel that there is a sense that we are all in it together, that this is our moment of the year. If E3 is indeed changing and its relevance is in decline, how significant do you two think it is to lose a sense of passion or camaraderie between all of us? We do have other trade shows and conventions that can fill the gap to an extent, but at the same time, they aren't as visible in the way E3 is visible. E3 is our Oscars, our Super Bowl, our big event that everyone knows about. I'd really be curious to hear your thoughts on this. EA and Activision may not need E3 anymore, but do we as fans collectively still need it? Thanks, Stephen Odell.
I can see what he's saying. I mean, when I was a kid, a teenager in the 90s, I'd pore over magazines that I get, obviously, but the internet, like during E3, I was like,
that was a game changer when we had the internet and E3 was happening. Because it was magazines. You'd get a fat EGM and see all these previews or whatever. But when it finally became like you were getting updates from IGN every hour, every 15 minutes, like holy crap.
Yeah, it was awesome. I remember those days. I think that this was my 10th E3 this last year, and I feel like I can never go to E3 again and be totally fine with that. I think that like E3 is soul crushing when you go and you have to work it, and so it's definitely jaded me to the experience of going to really any trade show anymore, because I'm just like, this isn't fun when you have to be there. Like I find like I loved PSX this year, for instance, like going to our conference, but otherwise really not being there at all, and watching the press conference online and all that kind of stuff. This is great. Like, I don't have to be there. I don't have to do anything. This is the experience that I want. We didn't even have that back in the day in the 90s and until 2005, 2006. No one was streaming shit. So it was, I don't know that we need it, because I think the alcoves of gaming have always existed, and those alcoves kind of support each other. When I was younger, it was IRC and GameFAQs and all that kind of stuff. Now it's YouTube and Twitch. And so I don't know if we have to like all kind of come together and get into the marketing bullshit that E3 really kind of has become, and maybe always has been.
It always has been.
I just don't want to succumb to that. I think it's fine to be excited. I just think that is like nerd culture. And I will only exist in the gaming vertical of nerd culture, really, like in a hardcore kind of way, in a substantial kind of way. I think that we really would do wise to be skeptical of this shit and like let the games come and play them and experience them, and wait for people to be critical of these things and not like buy the hype. I think that's becoming an increasing problem for me when I see people getting excited about this movie trailer, this TV show. It's like, you just stop buying into this shit until like if it's good or bad, because like we are always disappointed. We find ourselves disappointed constantly. And as I said, I think on the Gamescast last week when we were talking about, which will go up concurrent, I think, to this episode of PS I Love You, when I was saying we as gamers have expectations that things are going to get better and better and better and intrigue us, and we're a very snarky bunch and we're very hard to please, sarcastic, but we have a lot of blame to carry on our own shoulders because we hype this shit up. Firewatch is a great example, and I talked about that. I was like, everyone thought Firewatch was going to be this fucking amazing game. There's no reason to think that was going to be an amazing game, like literally no reason to think that was going to be an amazing game. We just saw it. We saw who was working on it. The developers never said, oh, like this is going to be a fucking game-changing narrative experience. No one ever said anything. We were like in our minds like, Firewatch is going to be awesome.
Yeah. And the guys who did Walking Dead, Breaking Out, Ollie Moss, all these people coming together to make this narrative-driven
game. And
it
was okay. And like everyone's like, duh. Even me, I was like, fuck, like why wasn't Firewatch good? And then I thought about it. I'm like, no one told me Firewatch was going to be good. I told myself Firewatch was going to be good.
Sure.
And so I think that E3 is indicative of this stuff where it's like, look, and it's fun. The conferences are fun and it's exciting to see what they're going to do. But I also think that we would do wise to back away from that shit. That's the shit that gets us fucking season passes that don't deliver. That's the stuff that gets us, buying, pre-ordering games that are garbage and all this kind of stuff. Like we just buy into the hype too much. And I think E3 has become very symbolic of that as time has gone on, of maybe it would be wise. Maybe it'd be better if E3 just fucking went away, and then we can like look at games.
But even that I don't think that's at the core of what he's saying, or even what you say, right? Because when you're talking about it last week, when we were talking about E3 going away, you're talking about people going away to speak to their audience.
Yeah,
you're still going to get the same marketing bullshit and exciting season pass stuff and da-da-da-da-da.
Sure, but at least you're not exposed. That's true, but you're not exposed to the bullshit you don't even really care about to begin with. Like Sony can bullshit me all they want. I can see through their bullshit, but I'm interested in what the bullshit is that they have to peddle. But I don't really care about Nintendo's bullshit. You know what I mean? I don't really care about Ubisoft's bullshit or anyone like that. So to me, it's like, let me pick and choose my bullshit. And I guess I can do that at E3. But what I'm saying is like, it's just a maelstrom of just marketing speak. Same thing with Gamescom, same thing with Tokyo Game Show, and all these, even Comic-Con and all these kinds of things. It's all the same. Like I don't want to say it's predatory because I don't think it's that at all, but I think it's kind of gotten to the point of a little bit of being a little shameless. And like, and to me, it's like, show me the game and let's talk about the game. Let's like Final Fantasy 15 is a great example. This game was introduced at E3 in 2006. I was in college.
Yeah.
When this game was revealed. I was a junior. And I remember I wasn't even a senior. I was a fucking junior in college. And, I just feel like, E3 is fun and it gets you excited. And I remember being so excited when I went to my first E3 in 2004 and being exposed to it and going to the conferences for the first time and stuff. And there is an excitement and a love of games that we all share. I just feel like there's such a sentiment these days with gamers that we're getting the short end of the stick, that we're not getting the bang for the buck that we want, that we're being lied to about certain things or things aren't being delivered or whatever. Well, I'm like, well, do something about it. Like they're not going to stop. They're going to keep marketing and pushing the shit down and shoving it down your throat until you tell them to stop. And maybe E3 is a good place to start. That's all I'm saying.
Gotcha. Yeah, I disagree. I mean, I don't want it to go away. I mean, what he's saying here in his point, right? I mean, his whole point is the fact of, like, for Steven, what happens to the audience. I like the fact that, yeah, traditionally, I'm not, when a Nintendo Direct pops up, I'm like, awesome, I'll catch it later, because it's about, maybe there's going to be one thing in there I care about, and then the rest will be about some Japanese game or whatever they're doing on this thing or the other. I'll read about it later. Whereas E3 is the one time I feel like we all come together where it's like you put down not your prejudice in terms of like what you're going to be snarky and shitty about on the internet, but you're going to sit there and you're going to listen to everybody. And it's kind of like you get a briefing for the year from everyone. Now, granted, if you were to spread out, there's things happening on the PlayStation blog every day, things happening on Xbox every day. There's all these Nintendo Directs. There's all these indie developers. E3 doesn't give you a real visual handle or a real handle on what's happening in industry for the calendar year, but it does in terms of like, here are our tent poles, here are the biggest things that are happening from the biggest developers we have on staff or that are doing these things. That I like, and I do like that conversation. I'm with him that I feel like, in terms of the Oscars, I do feel like, and I'm not just, because I'm trending gamer, I feel like the Game Awards is getting up there in terms of that being an event. In terms of like, I don't think E3 is our Oscars. I think that's probably E3 is more of our Super Bowl, whereas the Oscars are the Game Awards. And I think, again, maybe it's a different thing for me this year, but every year it does seem like that show gets bigger and bigger, and more people care about it, and everyone is sitting there talking about it on that day. I digress on that front. I do feel though that E3 is this community event where it's awesome. Like, I still, don't get me wrong, E3 is a lot of work, but I'm never the guy who's like, oh, I hate E3. I don't want to go to E3, right? Like, I like going E3. I think, oh man, it's gonna be a lot of work this year, a lot of late nights and this, that, and the other. But I do totally fucking get that excitement, and I love watching those conferences and seeing what's about to happen. And yeah, sure, it's marketing BS, but everything's marketing BS. Until we sit down and play a final version of a game, everything is marketing BS. Period. There's no journalism ethics they need to give of this is what we have to say and this is how it's got to be, and we'll let you play this thing in a totally normal environment. Here's your disc, da da da. Even when you get a debug copy of a game, it's not the real game. So what the hell's going on? I'm not as negative on it or down on it. I do love E3. I think even if E3 fell away, the problem becomes that, to what Steven's talking about, E3 falls away, and yeah, there's a PAX and there's Tokyo and there's Gamescom and this, but like
PAX is such a more authentic show. And
yeah, true. I 100% because it's fans. All PAX is fans, and that's why PAX is awesome. But it's also like developers don't make a lot of announcements there usually, unless they are like Gearbox or some a developer / publisher that's totally in tune with their audience. Usually that's where you see like an MMO or a MOBA doing something outside of the norm for their fans. But none of those shows have that. This is the event. And like what you're talking about is maybe we get more and more closer to a PSX and an Xbox thing and a Nintendo thing, and those become the real consumer driven things if E3 were to fall away, where you'd have more fans there. But even those I feel are even more markety than E3, because you go to PSX and it's not like you're going to have an open, frank discussion on stage about everything that Sony fucked up this year, right?
Sure. Yeah, I guess so. I'm of two minds with going to E3, where I'm like, well, I'd never want to go to E3 again, but I go to E3 because so you don't have to. You know what I mean? Like, that's, so to me, I'm like, well, I'm doing you a service because
what's your job?
Yeah, sure, but it's not. I mean, like, we're commentators and we play games and we do our podcast and stuff. It's not really my job to go to E3. It was my job to go to E3 at IGN.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, it's like, well, I do this because I know you want me to do it, and so it's what I do. But I don't have a passion for these trade shows, and I haven't had a passion for them for years because I just am, I don't know, I'm bored by a lot of it. You know, I'm just like, it's the conferences are the only part I give a shit about. And even then it's just to show me like what you got going on and, you know, and give me a little feel for the roadmap of the future. I know that people think it sounds jaded, and I know people would kill to go to E3, and I understand all that kind of stuff. I'm not trying to sound like that. I'm just trying to be a realist in the sense that we have a marketing problem in the gaming industry. We have an expectations problem in the industry. We have a lot of problems in the industry. And I do think that a lot of it's funneled back to the way we talk about games and the way we get excited and hyped for games. And it's the same way people wait in fucking lines for hours to go to these panels at Comic-Con to see a TV show panel or whatever. And it's like, I respect that and I appreciate that. You can do what you want. You have free will. If that's what makes you happy, that's totally fine. Spend your money and your time however you want. I don't care.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm like, we gotta take the power back, you know, like as the consumer and stuff like that. I know it's a very convoluted kind of thing to say for this, but E3 is very indicative of that to me. I want to see E3 go away. Like, I would love to see something else sprout up in its place that is way more fan driven, way more authentic, way more fun. You know, E3 is not fun. Like it's like, especially like, and I don't know that I didn't realize that until I went to New York Comic Con, until I went to San Diego Comic Con, until I went to PAX East and PAX Prime, and I'm like, these are fun.
And that's the thing though. You're comparing, I think, apples and oranges in a way. A consumer show is a lot different than in E3 than Gamescom actually merges the two, doesn't it? Bad example, but a Paris Games Week. You know what I mean? Like, these are these events that are serving different audiences. Like, there's a reason PAX is so. And even you said, you know, people at a Comic-Con piling in for a panel, right? Like, or waiting in line to get into a panel. That's, for me, has always made the most sense. I'm going to, there's a Smallville panel. I'm going to get, if I was a normal person, I'd get in line to go see the Smallville reunion panel, right? Because I want to be around all these people who love Smallville as much as I do. So I'll wait in line for whatever in Hall H. Not that I ever have, because I'm always working it. But
Hall H.
Unleash Hall H. The flip up for video games is like, I remember when I was running into kids who were waiting 3 hours at a PAX to play The Order. I was like, why are you waiting in line this long to play The Order? Like, you can watch every one of those videos online. You're going to play this game in 2 months. And like, back to your point, whatever makes you happy. I'm not here to judge you. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, like, I love at PAX floating around the floor and talking to people and bouncing up to mainly going to that, the indie booth and playing all these different things and seeing these games that you don't get to see anywhere else that I haven't seen covered on IGN, and then going to the merch thing, going to a panel, but it's about being around the fandom. Whereas E3 is, when you say E3 isn't fun and you compare it to those things, E3 is meant to be work. You know what I mean? Even if we are commentators, our job is to go there and see stuff. And then last year, our job was to go there and interview people and talk to people. And this year, we'll see what our job ends up being when we go to E3. But there's a job there. You know what I mean? Like when you go to PAX, the job is to hang out and do a panel and fucking shake hands and thank these people who get to do all this stuff for us. But I'm not going to be able to thank people at E3, even though it ends up happening inevitably, but because E3 is for me to go there and meet devs, meet publishers, meet PR people. It is a networking. So it is a conference, right? It is a real conference.
Yeah, I think that to the point of playing games early or getting access, there could be an excitement about that, right? But even before I went to my first E3, even before I was in the industry, like I had no interest in going to really going other than, like to play things. I wanted to see it. Yeah. So like I think one of the things, candidly and with respect, that I'm just disconnected from the way a lot of gamers are in this, and I've always been in the sense that, I don't need to play this early. I don't need to be around this thing or this thing. It's the same thing I always say about like I talk very openly about like I don't understand Let's Play culture. Like I don't get it. Like we do them. And I love that people like them, but I always want to be honest with the audience, being like, I personally don't watch these. We talked about it to tease Game Over Greggy's show next week. We talked about our trip to Rooster Teeth and what we learned there. And I'm like, I learned a great deal about going there and seeing how they work and stuff, especially because like I don't watch game media at all. So like when we did Podcast Beyond and when we do PS I Love You, or when we do the Gamescast, or we do even Game Over Greggy's show, like those are just what I think a podcast should be. Like I don't really know because I've never listened to really a podcast regularly ever in my life. So, if people don't want to be skeptical, or some people don't want to be skeptical, some people do want to be skeptical. I always take, I've kind of echoed this in the past. Let me be skeptical for you. Let me be the curmudgeonly like fucking gatekeeper for you. And you don't have to be that guy, and you can make fun of me for being that guy if you want, or be mad at me for being that guy. But I have to be that guy. Like it's just the way I consume, and I think it's been the way I've always consumed. So I think even though I've always been a core gamer I've been playing games every day of my life for like 26 or 27 years. I've always been skeptical. I've always been curmudgeonly. I've always been hard on things and kind of a show me kind of thing. I get excited about things too. Uncharted is a great example. I'm very excited about Uncharted 4. So I succumb to the fucking marketing fear too. It's just that I know Uncharted 4 is going to be good. I mean, that's the thing though, is like, you're not excited about Uncharted 4 because of what they showed you at PSX or the commercial you saw on TV or the Subway integration. You're excited about Uncharted 4 because it's Uncharted 4 and you've played 3 games from this team that and Naughty Dog who you trust and all these different things. That's right, exactly. Different. It's a learned experience, but it's also like, some people, get on me and they're like, you don't seem to enjoy games. Like, well, it's supposed to be fun and stuff. And I'm like, games are a way of life for me. I played games. I've dedicated my adult life to video games and much of my childhood. We don't have to enjoy them because they exist, and we don't have to enjoy a video game because it's a fucking video game. And I brought up a good example. Alekine's Gun on PlayStation 4. It's also a PC game. Okay. Game's supposed to be absolute fucking trash. Like unequivocal trash. Okay. And, with respect, we've talked to the guy, like to the publisher or whatever, just someone from that was like at the GameStop Expo about like him bringing the game on, talking about it or whatever. And like, to me, it's like, that's market. Like you guys knew your game was bad. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm talking about. Like I'm not calling anyone a liar or anything like that. I'm just saying like, this is kind of the marketing shit we did. Like I was interested in this game until I was like looking at the reviews. I'm like, this game isn't like mediocre. There's no like, there's an objective nature.
Well, silver lining.
Yeah, and like this game is supposed to be fucking trash.
This guy was on our show.
And I did something with like just the publisher, like or like whatever. I'm not trying to call anyone out. What I'm saying is like that's what I'm talking about. Is like I always say, a Cold War shoot. Oh, it sounds awesome. Blah blah blah. And it's like, Push Square 20, 6-axis 30. IGN gave it a 30. Slant Magazine 40, Hardcore Gamer 40, Game Critics 45, Brash Gamers and WCC. So these are Metacritic things, no higher than 50. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, that kind of sucks because I was excited about it. Like I started to bite a little bit, and so I try to like, you understand what I'm saying? So I try to like, I'm like, Cold War espionage thriller, and then like reminds me of Dead Drops and all this kind of cool stuff going on in the 70s, 80s, like in the 60s, and I'm like, damn it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't want to fall prey to that shit either. So I'd rather remain skeptical and curmudgeonly, and people can think I'm hard or I don't enjoy games. That's fine. I clearly enjoy games. I just want to be the guy that's kind of managing expectations, if not for others, then for me. Sure. That's all.
Okay.
I don't know if any of that makes sense, but
Adam Greeny has some more on E3, and it's Colin's E3 predictions. And this is the final question of the week. Remember to be part of the show. Kindafunny.com/PSQ. I understand companies wanting to have absolute control of their messaging and media package. They can spin things and hype them while keeping the obnoxious media folk from commenting/criticizing on their games. But in the end, isn't that horrifically unfair to consumers? If Colin is right, then we, the gamers, will get well and truly fucked, and so will publishers. I'm a busy guy, kind of. I work full-time as a writer for a charity organization that demands a lot of random hours on top of the 9 to 5. I have a house to maintain, friends, family, etc. I can't visit Activision, Warner Brothers, Disney, and EA's blog every day for news. If it wasn't for sites like Kinda Funny or IGN, I would be hard-pressed to keep up with everything that's happening in the gaming world. If companies stop allowing for third-party coverage, how can they expect people to care or even notice their game? Maybe I'm overly worried about the future of gaming media and my loss of freelance work as it would happen, but in what ways is this any better for the general public? I feel like he's mixing up a lot of different things we've said there and stuff. I don't think at any point were we saying that if these companies leave E3 and do their own events targeted at their own fans, and they're speaking to the consumers, and I'm saying like, I think I used the example last time on the show, if Disney Infinity did something, we wouldn't cover it as Kinda Funny, but when LEGO Dimensions does something, we would, because we have an audience and I care about LEGO Dimensions. None of that means that IGN isn't getting access or covering it or doing, your GameSpots, your IGNs, doing the more general stuff. What we're saying, I think, is that the middle tier sites that aren't IGN and aren't independent things, but are owned by people and have, budgets to worry about, those are the ones that fall away, and you're left with the big sites and you're left with a lot of these indie people. And how that relates then to E3 is that EA's event that isn't E3, but is right before E3, is still going to have access for fans, but it's also going to have access for IGN for them to go to their mini press conference that I'm sure is going to be the exact same kind of press conference they would have done, but now it's to an audience of fans and an audience of press people.
Just understand that, these sites are like, some sort of aggregation will always exist in terms of disseminating the news. I agree with you. It's a laborious task to go to all these sites, but the fact is that the shit that you care about will probably bubble up to the top anyway, or whether on your social media, a friend might know about it, you might see it somewhere else. But you understand that the publishers are also seeing metrics that surely, the big websites, certainly their traffic's got to be falling. And just because there's only so many places for people to go, so much time in the day, so many gamers, and it seems like they're flocking to YouTube and they're flocking to Twitch and they're flocking to all these different
places.
And
how many times do you, and this is, I'll say it for myself, I'll speak for myself. How many times do I go to GameSpot.com or IGN.com on a daily basis? And I'm talking about their .com, their front page. Rarely. I see somebody tweet an article or a video I want to see, and I click through on that link, right? I'm doing it in the same way people do it through Facebook, where you click through and you go that way. Fewer and fewer people are going to destination websites to get their things.
And I also think that, so they're looking at these metrics of probably falling traffic and falling influence because of the falling traffic, and they go to where they feel like they can directly connect with someone. So if you follow them on Twitter, or you have an app that's endemic to them, or you have something like that, they can talk to you directly. Like, they want to control the message. I'm not saying it's right, because it goes back into this marketing thing where I'm saying like, well, having a gatekeeper between what Activision says about Call of Duty and what you read about Call of Duty is important. But if you don't have that, it's just going to be up to you to be more skeptical and more on guard about these kinds of things. And that's like that's kind of where I sit with what I was saying before. With, you don't want to like get your game information from the publishers directly necessarily, nor do you want to get them from people that are just overly enthusiastic, whoever that might be. I'm not calling it, saying anyone in particular. I'm just saying you want to know like that a person hates something or doesn't like something. So you like know that like when they like something, it means something. That's what I always feel about the way, you and I are both pretty open about the shit we don't like, so that when we like something, whether or not you like it or not, yourself, that at least there are two little jars that we throw our fucking ideas into.
That's the hardest thing to do with first party editorial content. You know what I mean? Like, look at the PlayStation. I'm not singling anybody out. Look at the PlayStation blog. Look at Xbox. Look at Activision. You look at Bungie. And some of these I haven't looked at, so correct me if I'm wrong. But I know for a fact, we read the PlayStation blog all the time. If PlayStation blog doesn't like something, there's not a post about that something. You know what I mean? Or you don't know. If a game, like you're talking about, if Game X is coming out and all signs point to it being terrible, are they going to put up a preview saying this game's terrible? No, that's not how that works. That's not how that kind of content works. Now, I'm not saying they lie to you. They might not they might not write about it. That might just be the thing. They step back that way of like, we played this game, we didn't like it, we won't do it.
Deafening silence.
Exactly.
So to me, it's like I'm not saying that that's a perfect solution. I'm just saying that that's clearly where it's going. I don't think that's a solution at all. And I don't wish the death of old media at all, because that's where we come from. And I believe in the sanctity and the importance of the written word. I believe it's important. And I think it's important to have editorialization. I think it's important to have opinion-based stuff out there, op-eds. Not everything has to be a press release or a news item. That's just giving you a fact.
Yeah.
I think that, you have to have that kind of stuff out there. So I don't think that's a solution, but I just think that that's clearly what's happening. It's just that it's not that you're not going to be getting that anymore. You can watch a show like Colin and Greg live and get the opinions on the news.
Exactly.
You can go to YouTube and watch the people you trust, or on Twitch, the people you
Exactly.
trust. So like, it's not like you don't have those people anymore. You just have to look for them in different places. And I think that's just going to become more pronounced as time goes on. I think that the writing's on the wall for the old way. Like, and that makes me sad, but
Sure.
I think that it's clear.
Sure. Yeah. And I think that's the point. Like, especially when we're talking about this kind of content, and what he's saying is you don't have time to check in. How's this good for? I mean, like, look at today. Now that this is up, it'll be annotated at the end. I put up the Lego Dimensions Let's Play for the Midway Arcade Pack, right? And I don't like it. And I say that in the thing, right? Now, I doubt that IGN or GameSpot will have opinions up on that content on day one, because is that a thing their giant audience cares about that they're trying to get to? Not necessarily, but if companies are going to give access to people that actually care about their product, right? That are like, well, he's an influencer on Lego Dimensions, we'll give him this stuff to get their opinions. You still have that. It's not like I'm bought off because I got these Lego Dimensions. I'm like, this isn't the one I like. Stuff like that.
Right.
It's still there. You just have to know who to look for. It's time for P.S. I love this best friend XOXO. This is where one of you sends in your PSN name so we can send you PSN friends. That's right. If you're listening to this at home, I'm about to tell you about somebody who needs friends. You're going to friend him on PSN. Everybody's going to be great. Today's best friend we love is Raiden Delta 16. He or she writes in and says, "Hello, fellow best friends. Long-time listener and first time writing into the show. I've really enjoyed everything you guys do here on the Kinda Funny platform, and it really helps me keep my spirits up in my soul-crushing job of being a janitor. I'm currently following my girlfriend on her 6-year-long journey to get her PhD in psychology. If anyone has done this before, they know it's a lot of stress, and there's a lot of moving to different cities, to different parts of the PhD journey. With all this moving, it's hard to build a good group of friends to play video games with. So, if you lovely gentlemen would grace me the privilege of being this week's P.S. I love this best friend, I would be eternally thankful. My PSN is Raiden Delta 16. That's 16. Raiden Delta 16, all one word. He says Raiden because my first real love will always be Metal Gear Solid 2. So you could also say Raiden, but you spell it that way. Thanks for everything, Raiden Delta 16. P.S. Greg, you're pretty cool, I guess. But Colin, you are my favorite and would love to have a fireside chat with you about how messed up this world of ours is, and maybe share a glass or two of fine bourbon."
Oh, thank you very much. That's very kind of you to say.
Next, Colin, this week's forgotten PlayStation game. This is where you and I reach into the annals of history to find a PlayStation game
I like
that not enough people.
The annals of history, personally.
That not enough
Put
people
my
are
whole
talking.
hand in it, up to my elbow.
That not enough people are talking about. This one though is submitted by a fan. It was my week. I'll do next week. This one comes from WolfAD47 over on kindafunny.com/PSQ. He or she says, "I have a forgotten PlayStation game suggestion for you guys. I'm curious to know if Colin liked it, since people said it was a Zelda ripoff, but I thought it was so much fun. The game I'm talking about is 3D
Heroes.
Yeah, he says Game Heroes.
Yeah, that's what it is.
For the PS3. I provided a link to the IGN review for it. No need. We remember this game. This game was awesome.
Yeah,
3D.
Atlas published it.
Loved that game. Yeah, it was like, what do you want to call it? Not top down, a little bit isometric, right? Where you're moving through and your little blocks and you chop things up and they shatter into little blocks.
Yeah, it was a cool game.
Yeah, it was
I never
awesome
beat
game.
it, but I liked it a lot.
Me neither. Yeah, full disclosure. I remember playing it at previews and being blown away and then getting it and something else came in and took my time, but it was a great game.
That's a good choice.
Yeah, so really
Is it
good.
available digitally?
I don't know. Doesn't say. IGN review doesn't talk about it since it was posted in 2010.
Yeah, it's an oldie.
Yeah.
We were at the we were in the new office, I think, when it came out, actually.
Yeah, we would be right. Yeah, you're right, 100%. Because this came out in April. We moved there in March. Now it's time for PSN's worst name of the week. You ready for this one?
Yes.
This, of course, is when you go to kindafunny.com/forums, go to the PSN or no PSX I love. PS I love you XOXO board. Click on the worst PSN name. Submit your name there too. This one comes from somebody whose name you're about to hear. "Hello. Puberty gave me one larger than average breast. It is a common condition, but it usually shows up in both. Term Gyominicasamas. Well, instead of shying away from it, my PSN ID is DJ Big Nip. DJ Big Nip. This name does not suit me anymore as the condition has subsided. However, the name remains and is usually asterisked all over my PSN. I work in a professional setting and dread adding new people on PSN. Please, Shuhei, let me change my name. Cheers, a now normal sized nipple dude. DJ
Big Nip.
I like that one a lot. I think that's a good one. That's a good calling card. And it's a good conversation starter with people in a professional setting. One of your nipples used to be bigger. Big deal. You know what I'm saying?
Some people might be into that.
A lot of people are probably into it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for PS I Love You XOXO episode 27. Remember, this is kindafunny.com's PlayStation podcast. It is the number one PlayStation podcast on the internet. It posts every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and iTunes and podcast services around the globe. Please share it with your friends, like it, subscribe to the channels, do all that jazz. It means a lot to us. Follow Colin on Instagram. KF Moriarty. Follow me on the PSN, Game Over Greggy, and I will be removing the rest of you from friends list very, very slowly. It takes a long time. Long time.
Gotta use the app, probably.
Yeah, the app isn't too bad. I've been screwing around trying to find the best way, but yeah, it's a pain in the ass all of this together. A lot of things I'd like to change about the PSN.
Oh, yeah.
Every episode of PS I Love You XOXO ends in a song in a segment we call Singing a Shuhei. This is where you, all the musicians listening, go to kindafunny.com/PSM. Submit your song right there. One YouTube video, one MP3 link. Why, you may ask? So at the end of the YouTube video, I can annotate to your video, and at the end of our MP3, I can add your MP3, and people can then go get all of your awesome music. Today's awesome music comes from our good friend, St. Louis, Missouri's own Tech Track. Tech Track says, I'd like to present the lead single off my new EP, Delivery. Delivery can be bought on iTunes and streamed on Spotify, Apple Music, and countless other streaming sites. Please subscribe on youtube.com/TackTrack, TackTrack, and check out techtrackmusic.com. The song is called Post. Once again, 2 weeks in a row of people nailing how to promote themselves. Not just, hey Greg, here's my song. I don't know what this is. What is your band? Where do I send people? Tech Track, of course, Kinda Funny. People know. A big time supporter of us over on Patreon. We love him very much. And we hope you love his new single Post off the new EP Delivery. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you. Bye.